At 17, Jia Daiyu fell in love with Qiang Xiaohua. She risked everything and stole a car from the factory to run away with him. But the car broke down on the road. This also made Jia Daiyu realize that the person she loved didn't love her back. At the impulsive age of 17, she chose to run away to explore the outside world. Her running away with that bad guy caused a big stir in her family. Now, she didn't expect that her 17-year-old daughter would also cause trouble in the family because of a traitor. The story begins in the town of Ha Bing in 1997, in an exciting atmosphere of Hong Kong's return to China. The small family of Cheng Pengfei and Jia Daiyu was preparing for dinner. While the father was showing interest in his self-made coffee grinder, his eldest daughter, Cheng Miao Miao, had just returned from school and quickly enjoyed a sip of hot coffee. Shortly after, Jia Daiyu also returned home, carrying a borrowed loudspeaker from her workplace. Only the youngest son, Cheng Ya, still hadn't come home yet. Cheng Miao Miao quickly told her mother that her younger brother was skipping school to play video games again. But both her parents were engrossed in studying the loudspeaker, and no one paid attention to their daughter. At this time, Li Si was engrossed in his video game when someone suddenly grabbed his collar. The little boy looked up and saw teacher Xiao Fang. His face turned pale with fear. It turned out that teacher Xiao Fang had come here not only to catch Li Si, but also to catch all the students from the No. 2 middle school who were skipping school here. But fortunately, the power went out and all the students took advantage of the opportunity to escape. As for Cheng Ya's family, his parents still didn't believe that their son would dare to skip school to play video games because the last time Cheng Miao Miao reported her brother's wrongdoing, she was completely wrong. Jia Daiyu angrily scolded her daughter, firmly saying that Cheng Ya couldn't possibly be at the game arcade. As soon as she finished speaking, she received a phone call from the homeroom teacher. After listening, she quickly pulled her husband out of the house. It turned out that Cheng Ya hadn't gone to play video games, but had skipped school to dig up a grave. Both the boys' parents were stunned. Meanwhile, Cheng Miao Miao was happily humming at home. Suddenly, her best friend came running over to tell her that Li Si was about to run away from home again. Just as the kids were arguing, Jia Daiyu and Cheng Pengfei brought Cheng Ya back home. Cheng Miao Miao was furious because she thought her mother always took her brother's side. She threatened Li Si to be a witness to prove that Cheng Ya often skipped school to play video games. However, Li Si flatly refused. During the class meeting to punish Cheng Ya, Cheng Miao Miao happily thought she had succeeded. Unexpectedly, Jia Daiyu got angry and almost scolded her daughter. Teacher Tiao Wan announced that Li Si's punishment was to write a 5,000-character self-criticism in front of the class. Prepared for this, Li Si calmly took out the self-criticism that Cheng Miao Miao had already written, glanced at it, put it back in his pocket, and easily finished the self-criticism. Cheng Miao Miao was about to gossip when teacher Xiao Fang unexpectedly betrayed her, revealing that she was the one who had reported Li Si for skipping school to play video games. Li Si angrily called Cheng Miao Miao a traitor. Cheng Miao Miao flustered and tried to explain that it wasn't her and that she had nothing to do with it, but Li Si didn't want to listen. He considered her a traitor. Cheng Ya understood the whole situation. He knew that Cheng Miao Miao had intended to betray him, but accidentally harmed Li Si, so he told his mother the truth. Because of the past incident at age 17, Jia Daiyu strongly disliked traitors and punished Cheng Miao Miao by not allowing her to spend money for a while. Li Si's family happily returned home. Li Si's way of dealing with his father Li Dahai was also quite funny. Meanwhile, Hu Shumin acted spoiled and wanted her mother to take her to Shenzhen, but she was refused. The little girl blurted out that her mother was a small city person. Her stepfather, Yang Songbo, called to report that there was a problem with the equipment and he couldn't go home. The next morning, Cheng Ya skipped breakfast, saying that he had to print exam papers. Cheng Miao Miao got an idea and followed her younger brother to steal the exam answers. She brought the answers to Li Si and believed that their friendship would be stronger. However, after finishing the exam, Li Si was shocked to discover that the exam questions were wrong. He angrily scolded Cheng Miao Miao and accidentally fell down the stairs. It turned out that the exam paper was an old one that Cheng Miao Miao had stolen, and Li Si had fallen into her trap. He despairingly exclaimed, "Why are you two always fighting, and I'm the one who suffers?" The story flashed back to the past, recounting the first time Jia Daiyu met Cheng Pengfei. They were matched by their families. At that time, Jia Daiyu was a nurse in the army, and Cheng Pengfei had a very good background. From the beginning, Jia Daiyu frankly said that she had loved someone else. But Chang Pengfei was still madly in love with her. After sharing their love stories, they fell in love and got married. Back in the present, during dinner, Chang Miao Miao fought with her younger brother for meat, and Chang Yaya immediately took out his test paper to threaten his sister. At this time, Jia Daiyu was reading the newspaper, saw news about Hong Kong, and decided that she had to go to Hong Kong at least once. Because her performance wasn't chosen to participate in the city-level art festival, Chang Miao Miao went to see teacher Xiao Feng to ask why. The teacher said that her, Li Si and Hu Shumin participating in the preliminary rounds was already a favor, because the school had discovered that they had cheated in the previous exam and were just waiting for the right time to deal with it. Li Si and Hu Shumin got angry, saying that performing in the city wasn't a big deal. Why not all go to Hong Kong to be cool? Chang Miao Miao was indifferent to this idea at first, but after Chang Yai appeared, she became more enthusiastic than ever, saying that going to Hong Kong would make everyone in the oil field admire them. Then, the three of them persuaded Chang Yaya to join this special project. Li Si even offered some very attractive conditions, but Chang Yaya still firmly refused. The group walked sadly on the street, and Chang Miao Miao was angry and refused to eat. Seeing this, Chang Yaya brought her a bowl of instant noodles and agreed to help. However, they didn't expect going to Hong Kong would be so difficult. The biggest problem was the cost. Chang Miao Miao and Chang Yaya decided to solve the most basic problem, stealing their household registration book from home. The two rarely got along so well. Jia Daiyu came home from work and saw her two children sitting together at the table. She was surprised. Knowing her mother wasn't chosen to perform, Chang Miao Miao decided to pull a trick. She asked her mother to practice dancing with her, actually to buy time for Chang Yaya to sneak into her room and steal their household registration book. Meanwhile, Li Si easily stole his family's household registration book because his parents were rarely home. After rummaging through their belongings for a while, he finally found it. Hu Shumin also took advantage of her parents arguing to steal her household registration book. The second problem was solved quickly as Li Si sold all of his father's cigarettes and liquor, then brought a pile of money in front of everyone, lying that he had just cleaned up some scrap metal in their house. To prepare for their trip, the group watched many Hong Kong movies to learn Cantonese. Hu Shumin secretly told her brother about the trip to Hong Kong and planned to visit Shenzhen for a few days. Li Si noticed his father's old car and sold it for money. That morning, Jia Daiyu and Chang Pengfei went for a workout early. Chang Miao Miao and Chang Ya took the opportunity to leave a note and pack their luggage, preparing to go to Hong Kong. On their way to the train station, Li Si suddenly needed to use the bathroom and encountered a nest of wasps on the road. This scene reminded people of a time in the past, when Jia Daiyu and her best friend took Li Si and Cheng Yaya to a public bathhouse. The two boys insisted on entering the men's bathroom and refused to go to the women's bathroom, true to the saying, men and women should not mix. Back in the present, Cheng Miao Miao sat on the side of the road and cried her heart out because her trip to Hong Kong had gone up in smoke. However, Li Si suddenly felt something wrong with his sensitive area and asked everyone to take him to the hospital. Meanwhile, Li Dahai discovered that his car had been stripped of all its parts, leaving only the frame, and he was furious. To take Li Si to the hospital, Cheng Miao Miao, Cheng Yaya, and Hu Shumin stopped a three-wheeled vehicle. However, the man driving didn't say a word and stopped in the middle of the bridge, refusing to go any further. Just as the group was in a panic, they ran into teacher Xiao Feng. While performing, Jia Daiyu, Niu Lingling, and everyone else received news that Li Si had been in a traffic accident and rushed to the hospital. In the examination room, Niu Lingling cried and sobbed, worried about her young son. The doctor repeatedly reassured her that the injury wouldn't affect Li Si's ability to have children in the future. Lying in the hospital bed, Li Si looked at the ceiling with a bored expression. Niu Lingling went to see the hospital director to request a thorough examination for her son. Li Si clutched his private parts and refused to take off his pants, but eventually gave in to his mother's insistence. When they got home, Jia Daiyu gave her two children a good scolding. Yang Songbo also called to reprimand his son, Yang Tao. In the middle of the night, Li Dahai went to the hospital and beat his son mercilessly. Li Si was angry and ran away from the hospital. In the middle of the night, the parents searched for Li Si, and Cheng Miao Miao deeply regretted her actions. Li Si hid under a bridge, asked Cheng Ya to stay and support him and protect him. Cheng Ya chuckled and scared him, saying that the news reported that escaped criminals were hiding in this area. Hearing this, the group panicked and ran away, leaving Li Si alone. Li Si was also scared, quickly followed everyone, and came up with reasons to justify his escape. 2. Make amends. With his sister, Cheng Ya used a game cassette to exchange for 3 performance spots, and gave them to Cheng Miao. Cheng Miao was excited and enthusiastically practiced with Li Si and Hu Shumin, even though they were only background dancers. In the final performance, Jia Daiyu participated in an interview, sharing her desire for her children to follow the family tradition and work at the oil field. However, when asked, Cheng Miao said she wanted to leave the oil field, and Cheng Ya said he wanted to be an archaeologist, which made her furious. At the public bathhouse, the group planned to take a bath together, but unexpectedly witnessed a group of men fighting shirtless. Cheng Ya and Li Si hurriedly covered Cheng Miao and Hu Shumin's eyes. A steakhouse opened, and Li Si took Cheng Miao and Hu Shumin to eat there. It was their first time trying steak, and all 3 of them were a bit awkward. Li Si acted like a food expert, but ended up needing 3 extra pairs of chopsticks to eat. Time passed, and Cheng Miao gradually matured and had her own worries. She sat on the porch, contemplating the troubles of adolescence. Cheng Pengfei saw this and comforted his daughter. In the end, the group couldn't go to Hong Kong as they had hoped. They went through some early stumbles, but when they grew up and experienced new things, they realized that nothing was better than their youth. In June 1979, Jia Daiyu and Cheng Pengfei had just gotten married and went to the hospital to hand out wedding candy. Jia Daiyu was not used to wearing high heels and sprained her ankle. Cheng Pengfei immediately took out the slippers he had prepared for his wife to change into. At this moment, they happened to meet Bu Daiwu, who used to be a driver for the leader, standing at the hospital gate. Jia Daiyu immediately changed back into her high heels and walked hand in hand with her husband towards him. Still angry about the past, Jia Daiyu mocked Bu Daiwu before leaving. The children's summer vacation also disappeared when the mothers all went to a parenting seminar together, buying a ton of study materials and dietary supplements. From then on, the children's lives were filled with mountains of dietary supplements and study materials. Cheng Pengfei saw that the study materials had typos and the dietary supplements were of unknown origin, so he objected to Jia Daiyu buying these things. Yang Songbo was also unhappy to see Hu Ye shopping too much. Both families had arguments about money. Jia Daiyu and Cheng Pengfei argued more and more fiercely about their children's future. In their anger, both of them said things that crossed the line. Jia Daiyu got so angry that she put on her shoes and ran out of the house, threatening to divorce Cheng Pengfei. Cheng Ya witnessed this and ran to tell his sister. Cheng Miao was worried about her father and rushed to persuade him to go home. Angry, Jia Daiyu ran to Niu Lingling's house to drink. Before she could comfort her friend, she saw Hu Ye come looking for her. Cheng Miao brought 2 bottles of wine to her father, advising him to drink and relieve his sorrows, let out all his frustrations, and promised to stand by him. Cheng Pengfei drank a bottle of wine in one gulp and became more and more angry as he talked. Seeing her father's anger, Cheng Miao added fuel to the fire and agreed with his idea of divorce. Cheng Ya realized that the situation was becoming serious and pulled his sister aside to talk privately. At this time, from inside the house, the singing of 3 women rang out, loud and clear. Both Cheng Miao and Cheng Ya were stunned. They helped their drunk parents to bed. Meanwhile, Hu Ye and Yang Songbo were fighting at their home. Witnessing the potential breakdown of Cheng Miao and Hu Shumin's parents' marriages, Li Si couldn't sit still. He ran to Niu Lingling and encouraged her to divorce Li Dahai. Before the divorce was settled, Cheng Miao was already worried and wrote up a list of assets, declaring that she would follow her father. Jia Daiyu discovered this and called her daughter over, demanding that she explain how she would divide the assets. At first, Cheng Miao hesitated and didn't dare say anything, but then she dared to think and dare to do, and exposed her mother in front of her grandfather. Even though Cheng Pengfei tried to stop her, she wouldn't stop. In the end, Cheng Pengfei had to speak up, affirming that he had never intended to divorce his wife. According to the original plan, the parents were supposed to discuss their children's education together. However, Jia Daiyu, Niu Lingling, and Hu Ye started talking about factory reforms instead. As soon as they decided, The three women enthusiastically went to process the paperwork immediately. That same day, Jia Daiyu ran into her ex-boyfriend, Jiang Xiaohua. By now, Bu Daiwu had become a secretary. Jia Daiyu invited him to visit their home. Before Qiang Xiaohua arrived, Jia Daiyu quickly freshened up. Cheng Pengfei came home, saw his wife glammed up, understood the situation, and played along with her. In reality, Qiang Xiaohua still felt guilty towards Jia Daiyu about the past. Jia Daiyu also frankly said that it was all in the past, and there was no point in talking about it anymore. Both of them laughed and put the past behind them. In the autumn of 1997, a boy named Qiang Xiaohua lived with his grandfather on a small boat in the vast ocean. His grandfather always hoped that he would succeed in his studies and escape poverty. Today was Qiang Xiaohua's first day of high school. After a lot of persuasion, his grandfather finally persuaded him to go to school. He didn't forget to remind him to be a good boy, study hard, and not get into any trouble. That same day, Cheng Miao Miao searched everywhere for her summer homework because she was afraid she had lost it. Cheng Pengfei ran out to buy breakfast for the family. In class 10:01, Li Si happily ran into the classroom, gossiping about the new homeroom teacher, saying that she looked exactly like actress Chu Shujing. However, when he saw everyone's expressions, he was immediately discouraged. While they were joking around together, Cheng Miao Miao suddenly saw a familiar yet strange figure. It was Cheng Ya, her younger brother. Cheng Ya had gone from middle school to high school, thin and tanned. His appearance made the girls in the class feel somewhat intimidated. Teacher Xiao Feng introduced the new homeroom teacher, Teacher Zhao Fei Yang. Teacher Gao's handsome appearance made the girls unable to take their eyes off him. Teacher Gao also brought a new student, Qiang Xiaohua. Since Qiang Xiaohua was quiet and always kept his head down, Teacher Gao arranged for him to sit next to Li Si. Cheng Ya's homeroom teacher was Teacher Han Shu, who Li Si thought looked exactly like Chu Shu Jing. However, the students in the class didn't show respect for their new teacher. They were noisy and demanded that Yuan Shanqing be kicked out of class because she was the daughter of a wanted fraudster. Teacher Xiao Feng heard the news and came to the classroom. Yuan Shanqing's deskmate even wanted to change seats because she didn't want to sit near her. Only Cheng Ya dared to stand up and protect Yuan Shanqing. Looking at his clothes, it was obvious that Qiang Xiaohua was from a coastal area. Everyone wondered why the school accepted a student like him. Li Si, who talked a lot, kept trying to talk to Qiang Xiaohua, but he remained silent and didn't respond. Teacher Han Shu ran to find Teacher Gao Fei Yang to complain about Yuan Shanqing's situation. Teacher Gao said that whether Yuan Shanqing was allowed to go to school or not was up to the teacher to decide. Cheng Miao Miao enthusiastically greeted Qiang Xiaohua because she remembered that he was the one who drove the three-wheeled vehicle that took her and everyone else that day. However, Qiang Xiaohua remained silent. Everyone advised Cheng Ya not to get involved in Yuan Shanqing's affairs because she was the daughter of a fraudster. However, Cheng Ya didn't care about that. As soon as the school bell rang, Yuan Shanqing rushed out of the classroom as if she was trying to escape something. Li Si took out 10 yuan to thank Qiang Xiaohua, but he still refused to take it. Hearing that her son was in the same class as Yuan Yang's daughter, Jia Daiyu worried and wanted to go see the homeroom teacher. However, Cheng Pengfei thought it was not right to let children bear the consequences of their parents' mistakes. This time, Cheng Ya agreed with his mother. Cheng Miao Miao later went to see her brother, but Cheng Ya coldly chased her away. Yuan Yang had defrauded many people at the oil field, including Jia Daiyu. She was very worried about her son. The next day, Yuan Shanqing went to school late. Because Qiang Xiaohua was not wearing his uniform and had long hair, Teacher Xiao Feng scolded him. The teacher told him to get a haircut, buy a uniform, and improve his Mandarin pronunciation. Because La Zheng's grandmother had jumped off a bridge and committed suicide because of Yan Yang, some people wanted Yuan Shanqing to leave school. However, she resolutely refused, saying that her father's actions had nothing to do with her. Cheng Miao Miao accidentally overheard the conversation between Teacher Gao and Qiang Xiaohua. She went over and said that she knew Qiang Xiaohua and volunteered to teach him Mandarin. Yuan Shanqing's situation gave Teacher Han Shu a headache. Cheng Ya went to see her and advised her to be careful. Cheng Ya also bought ice cream to apologize to his sister. That day, Yuan Shanqing insisted on going to class. La Zheng saw her and couldn't control his anger, knocking over her desk. Fortunately, people stopped him. Cheng Ya quickly picked up her books, fixed her desk, and helped her put it back together. Le Zheng was dissatisfied with Cheng Yaya's actions. Li Si and Cheng Miao Miao actively helped Tiang Xiaohua, but he looked down on their kindness. Li Si angrily scolded him a few times. Unexpectedly, Li Si's words touched Tiang Xiaohua's pain. He suddenly lunged at Li Si and punched him. They were all children who grew up together, familiar with each other's faces and names in this oil field area. The unexpected appearance of Tiang Xiaohua and Yuan Shanqing disrupted their lives. At that time, they couldn't have imagined that Tiang Xiaohua and Yuan Shanqing would become important parts of their lives later. In the summer of 1997, Cheng Yaya injured his forehead after fighting with a friend. Cheng Miao Miao criticized her brother for being incompetent. His parents also had opposing attitudes. The conflict between Li Si and Tiang Xiaohua reached teacher Gao Fei Yang. Li Si cried and complained to the teacher that Tiang Xiaohua had kicked him first. Tiang Xiaohua remained silent, and after teacher Gao asked him, he mumbled, "I don't have parents." Then he apologized, and Cheng Miao Miao ran over to explain that it was just a misunderstanding. Teacher Gao saw through the children's psychology and warned them not to let this happen again. Leaving the teacher's office, Li Si was still angry and thought he was the victim. He felt betrayed by Cheng Miao Miao, who didn't stand by him. At that moment, Cheng Miao Miao didn't have the energy to care about Li Si. She saw Cheng Yaya, who had a facial injury, walking into teacher Gao's office. It turned out that Le Zheng had taken revenge on him after school because he had defended Yuan Shanqing. Cheng Yaya had also retaliated and fought back against Le Zheng. Hearing that Cheng Yaya had fought Le Zheng, Cheng Miao Miao wanted to find him to settle things. However, Cheng Yaya reminded her that they had fought each other, not that he had fought him alone. Li Si blocked Tiang Xiaohua on the bridge, demanding an explanation and wanting to fight him. Unexpectedly, Tiang Xiaohua brought Big German Shepherd with him, scaring Li Si back. Moreover, the appearance of Cheng Miao Miao stopped Li Si from acting rashly. After school, Li Si went to the game arcade to play and met Guo, his father's co-worker, who came to borrow 80 yuan. Cheng Yaya had a bruised face but lied to his father, saying he had fallen. However, Cheng Pengfei knew immediately that his son was lying. Guo came out of the room and returned Li Si 100 yuan, making him even more curious about what he was doing in there. Li Si and Cheng Yaya were assigned to do cleaning duty together. Yuan Shanqing always arrived in class just before the lesson started, so she didn't know how far the teacher had gotten in the lesson. Seeing this, Cheng Yaya gave her his notebook to look at. Because Tiang Xiaohua didn't know he had to wear slippers in the computer room, the teacher reminded him. He quietly left the classroom. Cheng Miao Miao, holding a barbell, aggressively went to the middle school to take revenge for her brother. Fortunately, Cheng Yaya noticed in time and chased his sister back. Tiang Xiaohua still refused to get a haircut or buy a uniform. No matter what teacher Xiao Feng said, he wouldn't say a word. Teacher Zhao Fei Yang came to help his student. While on his way to work, Cheng Pengfei heard that his brother-in-law had been in a traffic accident and rushed to the scene to help. At that time, Jia Baoshan was fighting with the other party to play the victim. Jia Baoshan pretended to be seriously injured and had to be hospitalized. Meeting Tiang Xiaohua again, Li Si became even more angry. Jia Baoshan pulled Li Si to get some supplies. The two of them took this opportunity to go out and play. Niu Ling heard that there was a promotion opportunity and discussed with her husband about pulling some strings. However, Li Dahai didn't want to be accused of relying on his father-in-law. To motivate her husband, Niu Ling drank with him until 3 a.m. Yang Tao sent Hu Shumin many audio cassette tapes. Meanwhile, Cheng Miao Miao was having a headache because of the class monitor election. Li Si and Jia Baoshan dressed up and went to the casino. However, Jia Baoshan didn't allow Li Si to go in and only waited outside. Niu Ling, Jia Dayu, and Hu Yo were getting their hair done when they ran into the con man, Wan Zi Liang. The three women staged a chase scene in the middle of the street and finally found his lair. Li Si was so curious that he secretly snuck into the casino. He was surprised to see Tiang Xiaohua there too. Li Si wanted to go into the secret room inside to explore, but Tiang Xiaohua stopped him. He knew this would be dangerous for Li Si. When they were little, whenever Jia Dayu and Hu Shumin were bullied, Li Si would always stand up to protect them. That's how the Iron Trio was formed. The police raided the casino and arrested everyone, including Jia Baoshan. Jia Dayu, Niu Ling, and Hu Ye took the con man to the police station and were surprised to see Jia Baoshan there. Cheng Miao Miao rushed over and asked Li Si and Qiang Xiaohua what happened. They both were confused and didn't understand. Niu Ling Ling was so angry that she wanted to ask the police to discipline Li Si. Leaving the police station, Qiang Xiaohua used his local dialect to tell Li Si that many people in his village had lost their fortunes because of the secret room in the casino. However, Li Si still didn't think it was a big deal. When they got home, Jia Daiyu scolded Jia Baoshan and told him to never come back. She angrily scolded him. "You should have just gambled by yourself. Why did you involve children?" Li Si was punished by his mother and had his allowance cut off. Jia Baoshan left early in the morning, but Jia Daiyu was still angry. Cheng Miao Miao thought that Qiang Xiaohua had saved Li Si twice, and you had to repay kindness. Moreover, she had bragged to everyone that she would help Qiang Xiaohua adapt to the class. If she couldn't do it, it would affect the results of the class monitor election. In the following days, Cheng Miao Miao kept trying to approach Qiang Xiaohua, but he always avoided her. Although she was a little angry, she wasn't discouraged. During PE class, Qiang Xiaohua left everyone behind and finished first in the cross-country race. Li Si couldn't accept it and ran up to Qiang Xiaohua. Seeing that Qiang Xiaohua still refused to change, teacher Xiao Feng went to see teacher Jiao Fei Yang and warned him that if he didn't improve, he would be expelled. Teacher Jiao Fei Yang was under pressure and had to meet with Qiang Xiaohua after class, suggesting that he get a haircut and also contacting the logistics department to resolve the uniform issue. However, Qiang Xiaohua didn't change at all. Li Si and Cheng Miao Miao went to the bookstore together to buy review materials, getting ready to speed up their studies for the upcoming exam. However, they were more interested in reading romance novels and discussing first love without a care. While talking, Cheng Miao Miao accidentally mentioned Li Si's father. It turned out that one night, Li Dahai had come home drunk and cried while walking in the hallway, holding a photo in his hand. The girl in the photo was named Bai Xiang. Therefore, Li Si thought that Li Dahai had abandoned Bai Xiang to be with Niu Ling because her father was a leader. On the day of the class monitor election, Cheng Miao Miao deliberately went to greet Qiang Xiaohua and reminded him to vote for her. When they elected the class committee members, Cheng Yaya unexpectedly nominated La Zheng for the position of class vice president of sports, which surprised everyone. Cheng Miao Miao didn't win the class monitor election. She only got one vote. She was very disappointed. Teacher Jiao Fei Yang knew about it and called Cheng Miao Miao to his office to comfort her. She was so sad that she burst into tears. However, Cheng Miao Miao quickly cheered up. She said it was fine not to be class monitor. The important thing was to continue helping Qiang Xiaohua. Li Si and Hu Shumin also supported Cheng Miao Miao's decision. Li Si offered to give Qiang Xiaohua a free haircut, but he thought Li Si was making fun of his poor family. All three of them were sad and didn't know what to do. The oil field held a sports festival. While practicing, Cheng Miao Miao and Li Si were suddenly called to the riverbank. It turned out that Hu Shumin had an incident. In the summer of 1987, after their divorce, Hu Yu and Yang Songbo decided to get back together. From then on, Hu Shumin had to live with her stepbrother, who was 4 years older than her. When they met, both of them said the reason for the divorce was that they had incompatible personalities. However, when they lived together, they would often argue. This made Hu Shumin feel insecure. Hu Ye bought her daughter a new dress, but she refused to wear it. Yang Songbo's family didn't like Hu Ye and her daughter. This was also the reason why the couple often argued. That day, Hu Ye went home and continued to interrogate her husband. Her parents' argument made Hu Shumin extremely tired. She cut off her long hair. Seeing this, Hu Ye angrily slapped her daughter. Hu Shumin ran to the riverbank and sat there crying. Cheng Miao Miao and Li Si rushed over to comfort her. However, Hu Shumin was like she had gone crazy and screamed and cried. For so long, she had been living in misery, and no one knew. Why don't you two love each other, yet you stubbornly stay together? Hu Shumin envied Cheng Miao Miao and Li Si's happy family. Seeing her daughter's attempt to commit suicide, Hu Ye and Yang Songbo quickly rushed over to stop her. However, they still didn't realize their mistake and continued to argue in front of their daughter and everyone else. Feeling extremely wronged, Hu Ye jumped into the river to commit suicide. Li Si was terrified and jumped in to save her. Luckily, teacher Jiao Fei Yang and Qiang Xiaohua happened to be passing by. After saving the person, Qiang Xiaohua quietly left. At the hospital, Naiyu Lingling enthusiastically introduced her niece to teacher Gao. Both Naiyu Lingling and Jia Daiyu didn't understand why Hu Ye jumped into the river. Hu Ye was embarrassed and repeatedly clarified to Yang Songbo that he had nothing to do with this. However, when everyone turned their backs, she secretly cried. Yang Songbo went to the hospital and scolded his wife. If the little girl doesn't understand, fine, but you're the same. Just crying like this, what good does it do? Don't you feel ashamed? Standing outside the door, Hu Shumin heard her stepfather say this and immediately ran in to defend her mother. She said that for all these years, her mother had endured a lot, and her stepfather looked down on her. Yang Songbo was surprised when he heard his wife and daughter say this. He fell silent and angrily left. Cheng Miao Miao and Cheng Ya began to think about family happiness. Cheng Pengfei patiently advised his children. He said that family was always a place where they were welcomed back. Jia Daiyu, on the other hand, had never thought of divorce, and she believed that her family would always be strong. Li Dahai was transferred to catch oil thieves. Niu Lingling was very worried about her husband. Hu Shumin stayed in the hospital to take care of her mother. Niu Lingling took this opportunity to arrange for her niece to meet teacher Gao. Her niece's family was very wealthy, and Naiyu Lingling hinted that her niece could help teacher Gao's career. While she was talking to her niece, Niu Lingling received an urgent phone call. It turned out that Huang Lequan was making a fuss at the office, grabbing Li Dahai's collar and not letting go. Huang Lequan's husband, Lu Qiang, had been fired from his job and had colluded with outsiders to steal oil. Huang Lequan not only didn't dissuade her husband, but also went to the office to play the victim. Li Dahai was extremely annoyed and explained that this was the director's decision and he had no authority. Yuan Shanqing continued to go to school late. In her student information file, the information about Yuan Shanqing's parents was blank. When asked, she just kept quiet and said she wasn't being bullied by her classmates. Le Zhang used a pencil to write 3 words on Yuan Shanqing's desk: fraudster. Cheng Ya was very angry when he saw this. When Yuan Shanqing entered the classroom, he quickly changed seats with her. Lu Qiang's son came to class, crying as he walked, saying that Li Sai's family was bullying others and abusing their power to get others fired. Everyone in the class felt sorry for him, except for Li Si, who felt wronged. Cheng Ya brought sandpaper to school and carefully erased the words on Yuan Shanqing's desk. When he went to the hospital to bring his father some food, he met Yuan Shanqing, who looked very worried. Autumn of 1987. Cheng Ya woke up and found his father wasn't home. He went out to look for his father and accidentally fell into a big hole. While he was panicking and crying in the hole, another little girl came to save him, and she also fell into the hole. However, she didn't cry like Cheng Ya. Instead, she took out a steamed bun to comfort him. That brave girl was Yuan Shanqing. Yuan Shanqing also had a younger sister, and she took care of everything herself. Sometimes, she even caused complaints from the neighbors. Their dinner was very simple, consisting only of steamed eggs and steamed buns. A debt collector disguised as a policeman came to look for Yuan Shanqing, intending to find Yuan Yang. He even overturned their dining table. Although Yuan Shanqing repeatedly insisted that Yuan Yang had run away with the money and she didn't have any, they still searched the house and stole the little money she had saved with great difficulty. Yuan Shanqing's sister was bitten by their dog, but she didn't have enough money to take her for a vaccination. By chance, she met Cheng Ya and had to ask him for money. Cheng Ya was also bitten by a dog, but he didn't have any money for the vaccination either. After vaccinating his sister, Yuan Shanqing was about to go home when Cheng Ya stopped her and dragged her to get a vaccination, saying that if she already owed him money, borrowing a little more wouldn't hurt. Cheng Pengfei saw the 2 children and took them both to get vaccinated. He was very happy about his daughter's kindness and generosity. Cheng Miao Miao was talking on the phone with Li Si, who said he would wait for Li Dahai to come home and settle things with her. Jia Daiyu saw this and scolded her. Cheng Ya took the Yuan sisters home and saw that their door was covered in red paint with the words, "Pay up," and their belongings were scattered everywhere. He felt very sad. Li Si questioned Li Dahai about why he had expelled Lu Qiang from school, because now the whole class was scolding him. Li Dahai got angry and almost beat his son again. The next day, Li Si went to class in a terrible mood. Lu Tuanbao went to find Li Si, hoping that he could say a few good words for his father. He even knelt and begged him. Li Si was also scared and quickly knelt begging him. but his classmates who didn't know the details still blamed Li Si for being heartless. Yuan Shenqing didn't come to class today, and Cheng Yiya was very worried. He immediately went to her house. Cheng Miao Miao was also very worried about Li Si and went after him to comfort him. Cheng Yiya went to Yuan Shenqing's house, knocking on the door for a long time before she opened it. He discovered that she had a fever and quickly took her to the hospital. Cheng Miao Miao thought that this had nothing to do with Li Si, but all the blame was on him. It was unfair. Zhao Fei Yang was speechless for a moment. At the end of class, Gao Fei Yang taught the students a new lesson. Be yourself. Your background, family, and parents will certainly affect you for your entire life, but your fate is in your hands. If you must speak up, I hope it's a choice that comes from your own heart. Cheng Yiya spent the whole night erasing the words on Yuan Shenqing's door. Li Dehai used his own money, equivalent to 3 months of salary, to give to Liu Qiang, and the matter was considered settled. Liu Qiang's family left the oil field and returned to their hometown. Li Si didn't go to see Liu Tuan Bao off. Cheng Miao Miao and Hu Xiumin made plans to go to Li Si's family's restaurant. They accidentally saw Qiang Xiaohua selling fish in the market. Cheng Miao Miao once again had the urge to help Qiang Xiaohua at least one more time. Cheng Miao Miao went to the village where Qiang Xiaohua lived, holding her shy dog. It was the autumn of 1987. While drawing, Cheng Yi drew a pink lake. Facing the teacher's disapproval, he didn't care. Just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Cheng Miao Miao went to Qiang Xiaohua's house with a curious look, insisting on going inside to see. Qiang Xiaohua tried to refuse, but his grandfather heard that a classmate had come to visit and was very hospitable. He quickly invited her inside. Cheng Miao Miao happily stepped into the boat cabin. Qiang Xiaohua's family's living conditions were indeed not good, but Cheng Miao Miao was full of new sensations and discovered a new world. Cheng Yiya also went to Yuan Shenqing's house and even brought toys for Xiaozi. He accidentally discovered that Xiaozi was over 2 years old but still couldn't speak. He felt a bit strange. Qiang Xiaohua's grandfather prepared a table full of seafood to entertain Cheng Miao Miao. She was very happy and chatted with him enthusiastically. When Cheng Miao Miao asked about Qiang Xiaohua's parents, she unintentionally touched on their pain. It turned out that Qiang Xiaohua was a child his grandfather had found. He always worried that Qiang Xiaohua's stubborn personality would make him get bullied at school. Cheng Miao Miao reassured him that as long as she was there, she wouldn't let Qiang Xiaohua get hurt. Xiaozi finished eating and went to sleep. Yuan Shenqing and Cheng Yiya hadn't eaten yet. Cheng Yiya wanted to fry some eggs, but they were out of eggs. Cheng Miao Miao took a bunch of seafood that Qiang Xiaohua's grandfather had given her and prepared to go home. On the way, she told Qiang Xiaohua that she would teach him Mandarin in the future. Cheng Yiya took out a box of powdered milk from his bag and shared it with Yuan Shenqing. In the middle of the night, Cheng Yiya and Cheng Miao Miao returned from someone else's house, making Jia Daiyu so angry that she almost fainted. Cheng Miao Miao planned to give Cheng Yiya's backpack and uniform to Qiang Xiaohua. She listened to Gao Fei Yang's advice and was determined to be a good person. Jia Daiyu scoffed. Cheng Pengfei gently persuaded his wife. Cheng Yiya was busy searching through his books and notebooks. Xiaozi's condition was a bit abnormal, and he had to thoroughly understand the relevant information. Jia Daiyu kept grumbling, feeling very dissatisfied. One wants to help the child of a wanted criminal, and one wants to help a child from a poor rural area. Is our house a temple? Why are you both so fond of helping others? Seeing this, Cheng Pengfei pulled his wife out for a walk. When he was little, Cheng Yiya had drawn a picture of a pink lake. Cheng Pengfei took his daughter to the library to look for it and unexpectedly found it. That's why Cheng Yiya loved to read and is now doing so well in school. Now, the two children want to help others. As parents, they should support their children and hope that they will always maintain kindness and justice in their hearts. The relationship between Cheng Miao Miao and Qiang Xiaohua suddenly developed rapidly, which made Li Si feel very dangerous. Yuan Shenqing entered the classroom, smiling at Cheng Yiya. To assert his dominance, Li Si ran in front of Qiang Xiaohua and introduced his relationship with Cheng Miao Miao. They were childhood sweethearts, and they had never been apart for the past 17 years. Cheng Miao Miao would be his wife in the future. This was predestined when they were 3 years old. Yuan Shenqing found a box of powdered milk and an egg on her desk, which Cheng Yiya had left there. She felt very warm inside. Cheng Miao Miao carried a desk to find Qiang Xiaohua. Seeing that he didn't have a desk to study at, she brought the old desk from home. along with Cheng Ya's uniform and some review materials. Unexpectedly, Qiang Xiaohua wasn't happy. He thought that her actions had offended his self-respect. Cheng Miao Miao was also very angry to be treated so rudely. Hu Yu was reviewing Yang Songbo's expense reports when she discovered a hotel bill. He was supposed to be out at sea on that day. It turned out that Yang Songbo had given all his money to his ex-wife. Hu Yu once again flew into a rage and cursed, saying she wanted to move out. However, when she heard Hu Shumin coming back, the two of them quickly pretended that nothing had happened. In the evening, Hu Shumin heard her parents arguing from their bedroom. She was very upset about this. While Li Si and Cheng Miao Miao were comforting her, Qiang Xiaohua appeared at the classroom door with his hair neatly cut, attracting everyone's attention. Jiao Fei Yang saw this change and silently gave Cheng Miao Miao a thumbs up. Hu Shumin felt that something must have happened between Cheng Miao Miao and Qiang Xiaohua, but neither of them looked good. Suddenly, Yuan Shanqing was taken away by the police, causing a stir in the school. Chengya likes eating egg yolks, and Cheng Miao likes eating egg whites. Dai Yu divided the yolks and whites of the eggs for the two kids. Seeing this, Cheng Miao felt jealous, thinking that Dai Yu was favoring Chengya, so she also wanted to eat the yolk. Dai Yu had to take 2 egg yolks and watch Cheng Miao swallow them. Shan Qing was taken to the police station by the police. Han Shu went to find out what happened. The police asked her a lot of questions, like if anyone had come to the school to find her, but Han Shu didn't know much about Yuan Yang. All the girls in the class praised how handsome Qiang Xiaohua looked with his short haircut. Cheng Miao was sad when she heard that. After investigating, Li Si told Cheng Miao that the person the police were looking for Shan Qing was Yuan Yang. Everyone in the class was also talking about this. Chengya couldn't take it anymore, and Luo Zhang even came to provoke her, saying that he and Shan Qing had been to the hospital together at night and even had a child. Chengya almost fought with him. He thought that whether or not Shan Qing had a problem was up to the police to decide. But the students in the class listened to the rumors, believing that Shan Qing was the one who brought shame to the class. Chengya was very angry and agitated, she retorted, asking them to provide evidence. Shan Qing confessed to the police that she went to the hospital by herself because she was afraid of implicating Chengya. Han Shu understood her, but in this situation, she couldn't hide anything. Shan Qing had never seen Yuan Yang again. That was the truth. She rolled up her sleeves. The scars on them were all from him beating her. Shan Qing would never forgive him. Shan Qing was a girl and her little sister was also a girl, so Yan Yang took all his anger out on his 2 daughters. Fei Yang went to the police station to inquire about the situation. The police suspected that Yuan Yang might return to find Shan Qing. Han Shu had reported Shan Qing's situation to the police. After confirming that she could leave, Shan Qing immediately went to find her neighbor to pick up her sister, but she learned that her sister had already been picked up by someone else. Fei Yang and Han Shu worriedly followed Shan Qing. She ran to the hospital to find her grandmother, but there was no news about Mrs. Chen. Xiao Tzu also didn't know where she was. She didn't know who had picked up Xiao Tzu. She sat crying in the hallway when Peng Fei saw her. The one who picked up Xiao Tzu was Chengya. He took Xiao Tzu back to his house. When Dai Yu returned, the 2 brothers hid Xiao Tzu behind them, but Dai Yu still discovered them. Dai Yu pressed Chengya and Shan Qing for what happened. Chengya honestly explained that he only came to look for Shan Qing and saw Mrs. Chen rush to the hospital, so she took Xiao Tzu home. Dai Yu understood after hearing this, but being involved with Yuan Yang wasn't a good thing. She could only let Shan Qing take Xiao Tzu away. Cheng Miao was playing with Xiao Tzu and casually said that Shan Qing was taken away by the police today. Dai Yu reluctantly made milk for Xiao Tzu, and at the same time told the 2 brothers not to tell anyone about this. Peng Fei got off work and came home. He also brought Fei Yang and Shan Qing. Dai Yu immediately surrounded Fei Yang, asking about the child, and she tried her best to deny any connection with Shan Qing. Leaving the Cheng's house, Fei Yang took the 2 sisters home. When they reached the door, they met Han Shu waiting there. The next day at school, the students threw Shan Qing's desk out into the hallway. Seeing this, Chengya pulled Shan Qing back into the classroom and questioned everyone. Why did they insist on making up stories to bully a girl like this? Didn't they think it was too much? Shan Qing couldn't hold back her tears and ran out. Chengya tried to stop her. If she left like this, they would think they were right, and Shan Qing would really become a fraud. Encouraged by Chengya, Shan Qing carried her desk back into the classroom. Though a little afraid, she was still brave. Yuan Yang was a fraud, but she wasn't. As long as the school didn't expel her, she would continue her studies here. As she began her studies, Shanqing wrote 2 characters in her notebook. Thank you. Niu Ling told Li Si that his math test score was very good this time. Li Si was a bit worried because he had copied all of Xiaohua's work. Could it be that Xiaohua really had the skills? During the Mid-Autumn Festival, Chengya brought many boxes of mooncakes from home and placed them in front of Shanqing's door. When he returned home, there was also a box of mooncakes exactly like his at his doorstep. It was bought by Shanqing with Xiao Tzu, and it even had money inside to return to Chengya. In the winter of 1987, Cheng Miao took Chengya out to play and ended up falling into an icy pond. When they got home, Chengya immediately told Dai Yu then gave Cheng Miao a scolding. Every month, Shanqing went to receive her allowance, but she couldn't avoid being criticized by others. Xiao Tzu's household registration hadn't been done yet, and Shanqing was very worried that it would affect her daughter's education in the future. People who were cheated by Yuan Yang came to the school looking for Shanqing, demanding she tell them where he was. The person leading them was Luo Zheng's mother. Principal Xiao Feng was in her office, but couldn't stop them. Cheng Miao heard that someone was looking for Shanqing, so she ran over and told Shanqing to hide. The crowd was agitated, and despite the security guards' attempts to stop them, they wanted to storm into the classroom to find Shanqing. Chengya and Cheng Miao took Shanqing to the school's observatory. The classroom was in chaos. Desks were being pushed around. Xiao Feng, Fei Yang, and Han Shu struggled to calm the crowd down. Shanqing didn't want to implicate the school, nor did she want to get anyone involved. Li Si, Chengya, and Cheng Miao comforted her and stood firmly by her side. Fei Yang found where Shanqing and the 2 Cheng brothers were hiding and told them to return to the classroom quickly. The others had been chased away. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief, but the situation for Xiao Feng wasn't so good. She entered the classroom, disheveled, her face bruised, and declared that it wasn't Shanqing's fault. It was those people who were being unreasonable. There would be absolutely no expelling of any student for this. The teachers in the school were cultured and disciplined. It didn't mean they were easy to bully. Xiao Feng even allocated a room in the teachers' living quarters for Shanqing to stay in, so that no one would dare bully her anymore. After school, Luo Zheng ran to find Shanqing to explain that he didn't tell his mother to come here. Shanqing was very grateful, and Chengya also always knew that Luo Zheng wasn't a bad person. Li Si accidentally saw Xiaohua's scores, and they were all very high. It turned out he was a real academic star. With the parents meeting tomorrow, Li Si was terrified. The academic performance of Xiaohua attracted everyone's attention. Shanqing's grades were very poor. She was always affected by Yuan Yang's affairs. Dahai and Niu Ling returned home and saw Li Si cleaning the house. The 2 of them were startled. Li Si had to confess that there was a parents' meeting tomorrow. Dahai breathed a sigh of relief. He was used to his son always being at the bottom of the class. Xiaohua, who was from the local area, spoke Mandarin with a bit of an accent, but he still scored higher than Chu Min. Hu Ye couldn't help but grumble for a while. Dai Yu had also prepared herself mentally for Cheng Miao's academic results, and refused to go to the parents' meeting for her. Shanqing didn't want to stay in the teacher's dormitory. She still had to take care of Xiao Tzu. She expressed her thoughts, saying she wanted to prove her innocence. Chengya, though a little worried, still agreed. This parents' meeting only lasted for half an hour. Dai Yu and Dahai laughed and chatted happily. The atmosphere was strangely harmonious. Chengya and Shanqing went door to door to apologize and explain. She was also a victim. She would definitely not cover for Yuan Yang, but no one welcomed them. Luo Zheng's mother even chased them with a knife. Shanqing wasn't discouraged, at least she had faced it. Xiaohua's grandfather, who was illiterate, went to find Fei Yang after the parents' meeting. Hearing that his grandson had gotten the highest score in the class, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. Fei Yang didn't put up the ranking board because scores weren't everything. He hoped that parents could see the other qualities of their children. Fei Yang even gave his meal ticket to Xiaohua's grandfather, saying he would invite him to eat at the school. Xiaohua's grandfather was very grateful and gave Fei Yang some seafood caught by his family. Fei Yang had used his own way to protect Xiaohua's self-esteem, saying his younger brother was sick and needed to eat seafood to recover, and that he would buy seafood from him every month. After the parents' meeting, Li Si was shaking like a leaf at the dinner table, while Dahai and Niu Ling were happily getting along. Cheng Miao was also anxious and uneasy, but Dai Yu suddenly hugged her and said that she had been too strict with her before. Even though they didn't tell the parents, The price they had to pay was harsh. All the students had to copy their mistakes as punishment. Li Si was found cheating and was punished by copying his mistakes 10 times. Li Si and Cheng Miao were very curious, wondering what Fei Yang had said during the parent-teacher meeting. It turned out that Fei Ying shared with the students about the difference between growing up and succeeding. He would be a good teacher, and he hoped that everyone would do their best as parents, trusting each other and working together to build a brighter future for their children. Cheng Ya went to the police, hoping they would come to the trade union and explain to Shan Qing, because everyone misunderstood her as being an accomplice of Yuan Yang. The next day, the police came to the school, to Shan Qing's class, and explained clearly that the reason they had taken Shan Qing to the station before was just to take her statement, and they didn't find any evidence that she was directly involved in Yuan Yang's case. Speaking of the future, Li Si excitedly shared his plans. He had thought it through. If he didn't pass the university entrance exam, he and Cheng Miao would stay at the oil field. One would be the director, and the other would be in charge of propaganda. Then they would get married early, and while Dahai wasn't married, they would apply for a big house to live in. Cheng Miao rolled her eyes in disdain when she heard this. Qiu Min, however, wanted to go to Shenzhen to start a new life. Xiaohua accidentally stepped on Cheng Miao's band-aid. Li Si saw him walk away as if nothing had happened and got a little angry. Xiaohua went to Cheng Miao and apologized, also because of the incident before. Li Si felt even more uncomfortable. Cheng Miao was hiding so much from him. Cheng Miao decided to find Xiaohua to talk things out clearly. Li Si said that Xiaohua was a weakling. Cheng Miao only then realized that her help to Xiaohua was seen as a kind of hurt in his eyes. Shan Qing learned that Cheng Ya had gone to plead with the police, and she was incredibly grateful. Dai Yu witnessed the two of them laughing and joking together, and she worried that her daughter was falling in love too young. Peng Fei didn't think so. He believed it wasn't early love, but simply Cheng Ya's kindness being reciprocated. He advised Dai Yu to normalize the situation, saying that at 17, she had run away from home to follow a boy, which was much more serious than early love. Dai Yu was still uneasy, and before dinner, she called a family meeting to address the situation. However, Peng Fei, Cheng Miao, and Cheng Ya cooperated seamlessly, leaving Dai Yu with no leverage. Niu Ling went to Hu Ye's house and informed Song Bo that Hu Ye was in the hospital waiting for surgery. Hu Ye was lying on the hospital bed in pain. Song Bo didn't say a word before he started blaming her. Then he finally went to find a doctor to inquire about the situation. Hu Ye was suffering from acute appendicitis and had to undergo general anesthesia surgery. Song Bo and Qiu Min waited outside the operating room. Dai Yu and Niu Ling saw this and left. The surgery was over. Song Bo sent Qiu Min home first and stayed to take care of his wife. Early in the morning, Cheng Ya packed all the egg pancakes made by Peng Fei into a lunchbox and brought them to Shan Qing and Xiao Tzu. Li Si was still upset about Cheng Miao and Xiaohua, but Cheng Miao didn't even notice. The school organized a singing competition. Since Xiaohua couldn't speak Mandarin, the class leader didn't let him participate. Cheng Miao stood up for him, and Li Si, seeing her being bullied, also spoke up in her defense. Xiao Tzu was entrusted to Li Si's care by Cheng Miao. Li Si didn't know what to do with Xiao Tzu on the basketball court, so he could only ask Xiaohua to watch the little one while he went to play basketball. Xiao Tzu couldn't speak and didn't respond to anything anyone said. Cheng Miao came back and saw Li Si playing basketball, and she scolded him. Then, she happily played with Xiao Tzu. Li Si twisted his ankle while playing basketball, and Xiaohua carried him to the hospital. After eating, Qiu Min brought food to Hu Ye and Song Bo. This time, the two rarely fought. Seeing Song Bo feeding Hu Ye, Qiu Min felt an indescribable joy. Cheng Ya and Peng Fei discussed Xiao Tzu's issue. Dai Yu continued to bring up the topic of Cheng Ya's early love. Cheng Ya had to explain that Shan Qing had saved her when she was little, though she didn't remember clearly anymore. But for Cheng Ya, it was a very important event. Cheng Ya and Shan Qing took Peng Fei to the hospital to check on Xiao Tzu. Everyone thought Xiao Tzu was a child with intellectual disabilities, but in reality, her problem was in her ears. She was a deaf child. In the winter of 1994, Shan Qing was studying at home when Yuan Yang came back with a woman. The two of them were affectionate in front of Shan Qing. Yuan Yang got drunk and forced Shan Qing to call the woman Aunt. Shan Qing didn't say anything, and Yuan Yang got angry, almost smashing the furniture in the house. Later, the woman became Shan Qing's stepmother. However, 3 days after giving birth to Xiao Tzu, Yuan Yang ran away from home. The woman, furious, went to look for him, and they didn't return for 2 weeks. That day, the window was left open, and Xiao Tzu got sick, running a fever for 3 days, but they completely ignored her. Shanqing was the only one who took care of her younger sister. Then, Yuanyang somehow got a car, and the two of them went around defrauding people, completely ignoring Xiao Tzu. They even wanted to sell her because she was a girl. Eventually, their scheme was exposed. They ran away, and their house was reclaimed by the factory. Shanqing took Xiao Tzu to the factory to work for 3 days before she was able to trade for their current house. There was actually over 10,000 yuan left in the house, but Shanqing reported it to the police, and the money was confiscated. Shanqing told the whole story to the Cheng family. Dai Yu felt sorry for her after hearing it. Peng Fei said he would arrange for Xiao Tzu to have another checkup, and she would definitely recover. Everyone comforted Shanqing, saying that everything would be all right. On the way home, Chengya hugged Xiao Tzu, and Shanqing recounted her past experiences. When she was little, her mother was often beaten by Yuanyang, but her grandmother would badmouth her stepmother. The saddest thing was that she didn't even know where her mother was buried. Every time she mentioned it, Yuanyang would beat her. Cheng Miao deliberately came to pick up Li Si to go to school together. His ankle was sprained, and he asked for a leave of absence, but it was not approved. Shanqing's essay was very well written. Han Shu breathed a sigh of relief. Shanqing had finally become more confident, and the classroom had slowly returned to peace. To allow Xiaohua to participate in the singing competition, Cheng Miao taught him Mandarin every day. It took a lot of effort, but she finally secured a spot for him. After school, Li Si, Cheng Miao, and Qiu Min went to Xiaohua's house together. Cheng Miao accidentally fell and was helped up by Xiaohua. Hu Ye captured the moment, and Li Si was jealous when he saw it. Peng Fei ruled out the possibility of Xiao Tzu being deaf from birth. As long as they implanted a cochlear implant, she would have a new life. Xiaohua made a table full of seafood to treat everyone. Hu Yo and Li Si were very curious about life there, and they also felt a lot of emotions. Cheng Miao felt the same way. She had always admired life in the big city before, but after meeting Xiaohua, she realized that their life was also very happy. With Chengya's help, Shanqing escaped the darkness of her past and gradually regained the joy and innocence of her youth. Xiaohua also gradually integrated into the group of 3. They helped him learn Mandarin, while he helped them with their studies. Xiaohua's grandfather brought seafood for them every day. Peng Fei wrote to his old comrades to inquire about cochlear implants. But the cost of the surgery, even with the help of a child welfare fund, would be around 50,000 yuan. The flame of hope that had just ignited in Shanqing's heart was extinguished. Chengya was always by her side to encourage her. The school launched a fundraiser for Xiao Tzu. Principal Xiao Fang went around with the donation box. Even Luo Zheng donated, and the factory also called on everyone to donate money to help Xiao Tzu. Shanqing was very touched and wrote a letter of thanks, sincerely thanking the kind-hearted people who had helped her. Han Shu said that Shanqing's poem was very good, so she decided to let her read it at the singing competition. This poem was also the class's entry for the competition. Before going on stage, everyone was given makeup with rosy cheeks, even Fei Yang. Cheng Miao was the host of the singing competition, and Xiaohua did not disappoint everyone with his Mandarin speaking skills. Shanqing's expressive reading was outstanding. The seagull she wrote about was just like her, bravely migrating to a new land. In the end, the song, Seagull, won first place, and Cheng Miao and her friends were all delighted for Shanqing. Peng Fei was busy taking care of Xiao Tzu's situation and contacted his comrade in Beijing. Dai Yu was unhappy. This time they would have to pay for the train tickets out of their own pockets. This time, Song Bo would be going with Peng Fei. Though he usually spoke little, he was a genuinely enthusiastic person. Li Si took Cheng Miao to eat durian pizza, praising how delicious it was. But Cheng Miao could only smell the stench and vomited after one bite. With everyone's help, Xiao Tzu would be having surgery in Beijing. Shanqing felt even more grateful and didn't know how to repay everyone. Hu Ye thanked Song Bo on Shanqing's behalf, while Hu Ye grabbed her little braid and grumbled. Chengya was very grateful to Peng Fei, but when she turned her head, she noticed Dai Yu staring at her. Dai Yu still believed that Chengya and Shanqing were probably in love. Chengya was helpless and used Cheng Miao and Li Si as examples. Cheng Miao had just come home and heard this. She quickly clarified and expressed her disgust at the lingering durian taste in her mouth. Peng Fei and Song Bo took Xiao Tzu to Beijing for treatment. Jia Baoshan came to find Dai Yu. He had just had a broken heart and came to seek refuge. Dayu rolled her eyes, thinking that he was a mess in both his work and love life, and couldn't even worry about himself. To thank everyone, Shanqing took over all the cleaning duties for the semester. She gradually became more outgoing, and even brought snacks for Chengya. Xiaohua and Cheng Miao were happily chatting and laughing together, and rumors started to spread. Li Si heard about it, and immediately criticized them, saying that he and Cheng Miao would get married. Xiaohua just chuckled. Peng Fei called home to report that everything was fine, and that Xiao Tzu might have surgery next week if things went well. Shanqing breathed a sigh of relief. The flower garden was robbed. Only Dayu and a pregnant female colleague were left from the green team, and Dayu sprained her ankle in her anxiety. Shanqing heard the news and brought some canned goods to visit, but Jia Baoshan kept her to eat dinner. Dayu decided to have Jia Baoshan stay at the garden, just staying there would do. It was meant as a joke, but Shanqing was quiet and thoughtful after hearing it. The next day, Shanqing went to the garden early in the morning to help out and even considered moving to the garden to live there. Chengya didn't agree, saying what if there were actually thieves? But Shanqing wanted to do something for the Cheng family. At least it would make her feel better. So, Shanqing moved to the garden to live. While the conditions were very basic, she liked it because she could see the stars from her room. Shanqing managed everything in the garden perfectly, and even invited everyone to dinner as a thank you. Hu Yu didn't come because her brother called, but Shanqing's cooking was delicious. Shanqing planned to plant a flower pot with Chengya, and Li Si also wanted to plant one with Cheng Miao. In the middle of the night, Shanqing was awakened by a noise outside. Sure enough, someone was carrying things away. Shanqing didn't raise the alarm, but quietly followed them home, finally catching the thief. Xiao Feng called Shanqing to her office to deliver the news that Xiao Tzu's surgery was very successful, and that she would be able to come home in a few days. Shanqing was so moved that she cried and hugged Xiao Feng to express her gratitude. Xiao Feng comforted her, saying she knew Shanqing always wanted to do things for everyone. She hoped she would study hard and pass the university entrance exam. That would be the biggest reward for the oil field. Peng Fei and Songbo quickly brought Xiao Tzu back. Xiao Tzu could now hear some sounds, but she wasn't used to it yet, and speaking would also take time. When Songbo returned, Hu Yue sighed and reminisced about how they said they would go to Tiananmen Square when they got married, but so many years had passed and they hadn't gone anywhere. Shanqing was like a busy bee. While Cheng Miao and Li Si were planting flowers but accidentally ruined them, Cheng Miao angrily stomped off. Early in the morning, when Qiu Min was getting ready for school, she found a new music player on the table. She thought Hu Yu had bought it, but he denied it. Qiu Min then guessed it was Songbo. Could it be that he bought it? Hu Ye disagreed, saying how could he spend money buying this for Qiu Min? Shanqing woke up early to go to school, planning to take Xiao Tzu to Mrs. Chen's house. But Dayu said she would let them watch Xiao Tzu as a way to pay Shanqing for her cleaning duties. Xiaohua planned to invite everyone to his house for dinner that night and intentionally bought a lot of seafood. Hu Ye held the music player and told Cheng Miao and Li Si that she suspected Songbo bought it. During physical education class, Shanqing repeatedly threw the ball at Luo Zheng, but he rarely got angry. After school, Xiaohua invited everyone to his house for dinner. Cheng Miao said that Bao Shan was taking everyone out for barbecue that night. Xiaohua was a little disappointed, and Cheng Miao pulled him along. Dayu, Niu, Ling, and Hu Ye went to the dance hall. Hu Ye frowned thoughtfully, feeling that Songbo buying Qiu Min a music player was favoritism. Actually, during the surgery, Songbo was very attentive in taking care of her, and Hu Ye was very touched. But after she recovered, Songbo went back to his old ways. Meanwhile, Bao Shan got drunk and boasted to the kids about his life. Dayu and Niu Ling felt that Hu Ye was placing too much importance on Songbo. She managed the household, so what right did he have to pick on her? But Hu Ye felt that if their life wasn't good, getting divorced again would be very embarrassing. After a while, Bao Shan started talking about his heartbreak, and Cheng Miao and Li Si listened attentively. At the dance hall, the three women drank until they were tipsy and were having a great time. Hu Ye went home and caused a mess. Qiu Min heard the noise, quietly opened the door to peek, and saw Hu Yu lying on the floor. She couldn't help but laugh. Cheng Miao, Chengya, and Peng Fei had to deal with the two drunkards, Dayu and Bao Shan, and they were at a loss. Niu Ling also got drunk with Dahai, and the three men were all hungover that evening. Niu Ling called Li Si over for a drink. Actually, she was very happy. with a good husband and a handsome son. The next morning, Dai-yu and Bao Shan called their mothers and tattled on each other. Hu Ye woke up after a night of drinking and received encouragement from Chu Min. Chu Min even gave Hu Ye the lipstick that her brother had sent. Hu Ye felt encouraged and didn't even bother making breakfast for Songbo. Cheng Miao's English grades were terrible. Han Shu wanted to invite her parents, but Cheng Miao begged and pleaded to no avail. She could only ask Bao Shan for help. Bao Shan loudly declared that he would go to the school and teach the teacher a lesson. The next morning, Cheng Miao woke Bao Shan up and told him to go to school and demand justice for her. Bao Shan dressed up in his finest clothes and went to the office. He happened to see Xiao Feng sneaking a rice cake in the office and took the opportunity to scold her. When he turned his head and saw Han Shu, the real teacher, his eyes lit up, and the whole matter of demanding justice was forgotten. It was Cheng Ye's birthday weekend. He invited everyone to go rollerblading. Cheng Miao swaggered into the office, and Bao Shan counterattacked. He and Han Shu scolded her, and Cheng Miao angrily chased Bao Shan out of the school. When Dai-yu was pregnant, Bao Shan rode his tricycle to pick her up, bringing her imported chocolate. Although the two sisters often bickered, their bond was very deep. Cheng Miao was sternly reprimanding Bao Shan, urging him to go back immediately. She was going crazy. How could she let Bao Shan come to school? It turned out, after all that back and forth, that Bao Shan had a crush on teacher Han Shu, so for a moment, he wasn't willing to leave. Under the nightlight, Shan Qing diligently folded a whole jar of paper stars. On Cheng Ya's birthday, Peng Fei and Dai-yu gave him a computer. Cheng Ya was overjoyed. Bao Shan got an idea to have Cheng Ya invite Han Shu over to celebrate that night. However, everyone disapproved of Bao Shan's pursuit of Han Shu, and Dai-yu even boldly declared that if he could win her over, she would give him a month's salary. Cheng Miao and Cheng Ya invited everyone to go rollerblading. Shan Qing and Xiaohua were both there. Xiaohua personally made Cheng Ya a pen box out of seashells with a unique design. Shan Qing didn't know how to rollerblade, and she'd never been to a place like this before. She was afraid of embarrassing herself, so she didn't want to play. Cheng Ya quickly helped her put on her skates and encouraged her. Shan Qing skated awkwardly, and Cheng Ya and everyone else helped her. Xiaohua was a very good rollerblader, and it surprised everyone. Li Si wasn't very agile, and he could only hold on to the railing and slowly move forward. Cheng Miao was the same. Seeing this, Xiaohua took her hand and skated forward. Li Si quickly rushed over in a fluster, pulling her away from Xiaohua's hand. In the evening, Bao Shan prepared barbecue for the kids, but he was regretful because Han Shu didn't come and openly asked about her. Everyone went home, and Shan Qing took out the paper stars she had folded. There were 365 stars in total. That was her birthday present for him. There was also a cake that Shan Qing had baked herself. Although it wasn't a fancy dessert, Cheng Ya loved it. Actually, Shan Qing's birthday was yesterday, but after her mother died, she stopped celebrating birthdays. Cheng Ya lit the candles, and the two of them made a pact to celebrate each other's birthdays in the future. Songbo called home. Hu Ye told Chu Min to lie and say she wasn't home, while she comfortably sat on the sofa watching TV. Cheng Ya opened the jar of paper stars. Inside were full of messages written by Shan Qing, each star with a different message. In the morning, Bao Shan was busy making soup in the kitchen, planning to bring it to Han Shu. Bao Shan waited for Han Shu at the security guard station, carrying a pot of chicken soup. When Han Shu saw him, she was a little conflicted. She could only ask him into her office. Xiao Feng heard that there was a stranger in the school and rushed over. But after Bao Shan flattered her a little, she didn't pay any attention, and she even finished the bowl of soup. Han Shu didn't even take a sip. Hu Ye was putting on lipstick and planning to go dancing. Chu Min was even happier and kept encouraging her to be bold. Hu Ye was invited to dance by someone, but she shyly refused. Dai-yu was a little helpless, but they were still happy to be together. Shan Qing was playing computer games at Cheng Ya's house, while Cheng Miao went to Xiaohua's house because he wasn't in school today. It turned out that the former principal was sick, and Xiaohua was taking care of him, so he wasn't at school. Xiaohua put his coat on her, and Cheng Miao's face turned red uncontrollably. There used to be a school in the village. Xiaohua had always been the top student in elementary school, and then in middle school as well. His older brother had to work to pay for his tuition, and his grandfather had to work long hours. For someone like Cheng Miao, studying was a given, but for Xiaohua, it was something he could never achieve, no matter how hard he tried. On the day of their middle school graduation, Xiaohua learned that there was no high school in the village, So, he couldn't continue his education. Xiao Hua was unwilling, and his brother and grandfather felt the same way. They went to see the old principal. The principal said he would try to ask other schools, but he took Xiao Hua to many high schools, all of which rejected him. Because it was an internal school of the oil field, they didn't accept students from outside. At the time, Xiao Hua couldn't understand. He was very resentful and sat by the beach for 2 months, letting his hair grow long, and his hope faded. The principal found him some 10th grade textbooks and told him to keep studying, but Xiao Hua refused. What was the point of studying for him? He might as well sell more fish fry. The principal told him that the knowledge he learned would be his own, and that education could definitely change his fate. He needed to work hard for his chance. Then, Xiao Hua started to teach himself. One day, the principal excitedly went to find Xiao Hua. He had found a newly established high school. He took Xiao Hua to meet the principal, fought for him to have a chance to take the entrance exam, and to secure that opportunity for him. But Xiao Hua was still stubborn. To let him go to school, his grandfather had sold everything he could. The principal didn't know how many people he had to humbly beg. Cheng Miao only then learned how hard he had worked to be able to go to school. While they were talking, Xiao Hua came. Xiao Hua's parents wanted her to go work to earn money for her brother's dowry, so Cheng Miao decided to help her get into school. Cheng Miao and Li Si were arguing again. Chu Min knew without a doubt that he was jealous. Cheng Miao didn't pay attention. She took Xiao Hua to find Fei Yang to talk about Xiao Hua. Li Si was confused who is Xiao Hua. After school, Xiao Hua and Cheng Miao went home together. A sad melody played in Li Si's heart. The music player that Chu Min had was indeed bought by Songbo. It was quite expensive, but Hu Ye didn't care. What difference did a little bit of money make when buying something you want? Cheng Miao and Xiao Hua took Fei Yang to meet Xiao Hua. Xiao Hua was very eager to go to school and to change her fate. Shan Qing packed a lot of steamed buns and brought them to the Cheng family. Dai Yu took the opportunity to scold the two siblings. Xiao Hua walked Cheng Miao home. On the way back, Li Si appeared and bombarded them with questions about where they had gone. Xiao Hua ignored him. Cheng Miao argued with him again. Li Si went home angrily and slammed the door. Dahai almost gave him a beating. Niu Ling, seeing this, quickly fainted to prevent the father-son conflict. Fei Yang went to find Xiao Feng and asked for a transfer. But Xiao Feng was also in a difficult position. After all, it was the principal who had made an exception to allow Xiao Hua to go to school. Bao Shan went to find Han Shu again. He used Cheng Miao's academic performance as an excuse to invite her to dinner. When Xiao Feng saw this, she went along too. Fei Yang's request to Xiao Feng was unsuccessful, and Xiao Hua and Cheng Miao were very disappointed. Li Si rushed into the private room. When he saw Xiao Feng, he was scared and ran away. Han Shu was increasingly uncomfortable and excused herself to leave, leaving Xiao Feng to deal with Bao Shan alone. Cheng Miao took Xiao Hua to Xiao Feng's dormitory to wait for her, but they ended up seeing Bao Shan escorting the drunk Xiao Feng home. At first, Cheng Miao thought the man's back looked familiar, but when she witnessed Bao Shan and Xiao Feng's intimacy with her own eyes, she confirmed it. It was her uncle. Li Si was very surprised to hear that Bao Shan had spent the night in Xiao Feng's bed. Cheng Miao boldly suggested that Bao Shan pursue Xiao Feng. The two of them had a lot of potential as a couple. When Song Bo and Xiao Tzu went to Beijing for her checkup, he stopped to look at the music player Chu Min had always dreamed of. Initially, he was going to buy a cheap one, but then he changed his mind and decided to buy the most expensive one. The next morning, Xiao Feng woke up in her dormitory room with a face full of red bumps. Her head was still fuzzy from the hangover. Seeing her face, Xiao Feng was startled. Just then, Fei Yang came to deliver breakfast for her, but Xiao Feng refused. Cheng Miao, Li Si, and Chu Min were discussing Bao Shan and Xiao Feng, saying that if Xiao Feng really became their aunt, they could brag it over the school, getting whatever they wanted. Cheng Miao used Xiao Hua's situation as an excuse to go to Xiao Feng's office to butter her up. Xiao Feng's attitude was still the same. Cheng Miao started to sweet-talk her, casually mentioning Bao Shan. After all, their relationship wasn't ordinary now. Xiao Feng promised to consider it and told her not to reveal what happened the night before. As soon as Cheng Miao left, Fei Yang arrived. He didn't need to say anything for her to know it was about Xiao Hua. Xiao Feng agreed to arrange an entrance exam. If Xiao Hua passed, she would take the results to the principal and ask for his opinion. Fei Yang was extremely grateful. Bao Shan finished researching Shanghai's cuisine and brought it to Han Shu. only to run into Xiao Feng at the security station. Xiao Feng thought he was looking for her, and she pulled him to the teaching staff office, praising his cooking skills. Bao Shan could only swallow his pride. Han Shu happened to be looking for Xiao Feng. Bao Shan tried to keep her there to eat with him, but he failed. Fei Yang informed Cheng Miao, Xiao Hua, and Li Si about Xiao Hua's entrance exam. Xiao Hua decided to go home and help her review. Dahai was suffering from a stomachache and went to ask Peng Fei to examine him, but Peng Fei was still very busy. Xiao Hua was very curious about the outside world and also very insecure, afraid of being looked down upon. But Xiao Hua understood that Cheng Miao and Cheng Ya were genuinely good people. Bao Shan went home and angrily remade the braised duck. Then, he went to the dormitory and delivered it to Han Shu. Xiao Feng heard the sound of the motorcycle and hurriedly opened the window. When she saw Bao Shan, she put on makeup. But Bao Shan went straight to Han Shu's room. Xiao Feng waited for him but didn't see him. She accidentally overheard Bao Shan explaining to Han Shu that the duck at noon was originally meant for her, but Xiao Feng had snatched it away. Han Shu rejected all of Bao Shan's advances and directly chased him out. Bao Shan turned around and saw Xiao Feng smirking. He made up a story, but she scolded him. Bao Shan went home dejected. Cheng Miao saw that he was sad and asked what was wrong. Even though love brought troubles, Cheng Miao believed that they would soon have a new aunt who was the head of the teaching staff. The next day, Cheng Miao went to give Xiao Feng a bag, and she was scolded as soon as she mentioned Bao Shan. Xiao Feng's attitude changed right away, and Cheng Miao worried that Xiao Hua's matter was ruined. However, Fei Yang said that Xiao Feng had discussed the exam with him this morning, and that she wasn't someone who would hold a grudge. Over the next period, Xiao Hua diligently tutored Xiao Hua. With such good results, she would definitely pass the exam. But Cheng Miao and Li Si's end-of-semester exams were concerning. Bao Shan suddenly shifted his attention to pursuing Xiao Feng and went to ask Li Si for the secret of making Sichuan spicy boiled pork. He brought the boiled pork to Xiao Feng, but she was still angry. When Xiao Hua's entrance exam arrived, both Xiao Hua and Xiao Hua were absent. Everyone waited for a long time, but only Xiao Hua showed up, his face covered in injuries. It turned out that on the way to the exam, Xiao Hua's parents came to take her back to Guangdong to work and beat up Xiao Hua. Xiao Hua didn't want to implicate him further, so she decided to go with her parents. Each person had their own life. There was nothing else she could do. Hearing this, everyone was sad. Cheng Miao also realized something. It turned out that not all children could go to school. What was normal for her was actually an opportunity that others would beg for. Winter break was coming up. Shanqing planned to take the opportunity to review her studies. Thinking of Xiao Hua, Shanqing felt lucky. Shanqing and Cheng Ya walked side by side on their way home, not realizing they were being followed by Yuan Yang. That night, Yuan Yang snuck into the flower garden. Bao Shan wanted to apologize to Xiao Feng countless times, but he was rejected. Yuan Yang ate a bowl of noodles and said he would be staying for a while. He told Shanqing not to go out and talk about anything. Otherwise, neither of them would be able to live. Shanqing, holding Xiao Tzu, shivered and nodded. The next morning, Cheng Ya went to find Shanqing. Yuan Yang held a knife and threatened Cheng Ya. He only felt at ease after Cheng Ya left. Every time she thought of Xiao Hua, Cheng Miao felt uneasy. She wanted to invite Li Si to visit Xiao Hua, but Li Si said he was busy, so Cheng Miao went alone. Bao Shan bought a lot of fruit, but he was embarrassed to see Xiao Feng. He just left them at the door and slipped away. As he left, he ran into Fei Yang and Han Shu. Han Shu was from Shanghai and would return to Shanghai. She didn't have any intention of staying here. Bao Shan turned back and asked Fei Yang about Xiao Feng, afraid that provoking her would have unpredictable consequences. Yuan Yang saw Xiao Tzu's hearing aid and only then realized that she was deaf and mute, but there wasn't a hint of remorse on his face. Li Si and Cheng accidentally ran into each other at the flower garden. To conceal his whereabouts, Yuan Yang didn't turn on the lights in the house, which made Cheng Ya very upset. She didn't know where Shanqing had gone. Li Si had been sad lately because of Xiao Hua. Since he moved, Cheng Miao had been very dedicated to his. Cheng Ya said that they were kind people. Even if it wasn't Xiao Hua or Shanqing, they would have done the same. Shanqing said that Cheng Ya and the others would come tomorrow morning, but Yuan Yang had nowhere to go. He warned Shanqing that no matter what she did, she couldn't let them come there for a while. The volleyball tournament was about to begin. Oil field number 230. 2 is playing against oil field number 3. Dahai was the captain of Oilfield No. 2 and the captain of Oilfield No. 3 was his ex-girlfriend. Dahai had promised his mother that he would go back to Weihai for the new year, but he had also promised his mother-in-law that he would go back to Qingdao. They each wanted to go home, but Li Si wanted to stay at the oil field for the new year. So he suggested that the three of them make their own arrangements. Li Si made the decision himself, and Dahai had no choice but to compromise. For the new year, he would have to listen to Niu Ling. Shanqing left a message saying that she would take Xiao Tzu out to play for 2 days. Cheng Yao was very anxious. Why didn't she say anything when she went out? Lately, Li Si had been sad and didn't even bother answering Cheng Miao's calls. Today, Niu Ling came to cheer for the volleyball tournament. Dahai was worried all morning and could only discuss the matter with Peng Fei and Song Bo. Song Bo accidentally mentioned that Bai Shuang was still raising a child, and it was very hard. Dahai became even more sad after hearing this. Niu Ling dressed to the nines and came to cheer for the volleyball tournament. Peng Fei, who was the referee, felt uneasy when he saw this. He intended to stop Dahai and Bai Shuang from interacting, but Bai Shuang took the initiative to mention that she and Dahai were old friends. When Niu Ling and Dahai got married, she really helped him build a good image with the bosses. Now, Dahai ran into his first love, Bai Shuang, at the basketball court, and Bai Shuang's eyes were full of complicated feelings. After the game, Dahai immediately sat down next to Niu Ling and kindly asked how she was doing. Meanwhile, Yuan Shangqing was all bundled up, getting ready to go out, but the door was locked, so she had to climb out the window. Peng Fei and Song Bo talked amongst themselves, saying Dahai's situation was definitely not that simple. Dahai had to confess, after doing the math, he suspected that Bai Shuang's child might be his. Peng Fei and Song Bo immediately started betting on it, which made Dahai furious. Li Si was feeling down, so he went to the arcade but didn't play any games. He asked Zhu Qiao what his good qualities were, but didn't get an answer. Yuan Yang and Zhao Zi were home alone, looking at their little daughter, and Yuan Yang felt a pang of sympathy. After the game ended, Niu Ling immediately took Dahai's arm and asked him to introduce her to Bai Shuang. Bai Shuang was very open, and Niu Ling looked even prettier than she imagined. Dahai was scared and just wanted to get out of there quickly. Shanqing tried to get Yuan Yang some bottles of alcohol, urging him to leave quickly, or he'd be found out sooner or later. Cheng Ya was worried, so she climbed onto the roof in the middle of the night to check if anyone was home. Yuan Yang, holding a knife, reluctantly dragged Shanqing and Xiao Zi into a corner to hide. Dahai wanted to see Bai Shuang, but couldn't think of a good reason, so he had to ask Song Bo and Peng Fei for help. Peng Fei said, as long as Niu Ling wasn't home, that would be fine. Just getting rid of her alone wasn't necessarily safe. It was best to get rid of all three of them. This heavy task was given to Song Bo. That evening, Song Bo was anxious and restless, so he deliberately picked a fight with Hu Yue, demanding that she call his mother during the Lunar New Year. Hu Yue didn't want to argue, only saying, "Don't make a big deal out of nothing," but Song Bo pressed on, starting a loud argument, even calling Qi Min to bring Niu Ling and Dai Yu, and Hu Yue also got agitated, because she wanted to argue with him. At that moment, Dahai was sitting on the sofa like he was on a hot seat, waiting for the call to get Niu Ling out. Niu Ling asked about Bai Shuang, saying that her husband had died early, and she was struggling to raise her child alone. Dahai quickly denied any relationship, saying he'd never contacted Bai Shuang, but Niu Ling wouldn't let it go. Qi Min went to find Dai Yu for help. Dai Yu got angry after hearing this, and quickly dragged Peng Fei away. Very soon after, Niu Ling also got the call. When Dai Yu and Peng Fei barged in, Song Bo was about to start smashing things, and when he saw them, he took the opportunity to make a fuss. Dai Yu and Niu Ling scolded him, then tried to take Hu Yue away, but Song Bo refused to let them go, his words becoming increasingly outrageous, even shocking Peng Fei, who was standing beside him. Dahai finally arrived at the hotel where Bai Shuang was staying. It had been 23 years since they last saw each other. In Bai Shuang's eyes, Dahai was now successful, and his past struggles hadn't been in vain. Dahai's mind wandered, and finally, he asked the question that had been on his mind. At this time, Song Bo was still in a Siri. Hot water. Situation, being. Taught a lesson. By Dai Yu and Niu Ling. Bai Shuang showed Dahai a picture of the child, and Dahai felt immense guilt. He had let Bai Shuang down, and he couldn't continue to let the child down. Dahai didn't dare to admit it. He just wanted to become a regular worker at the oil field. He was afraid of poverty. Bai Shuang didn't press him and let him leave. Dahai was still feeling guilty when Bai Shuang confessed that the child actually had nothing to do with Dahai. It was the child of her brother and sister-in-law. They had died in a landslide that year, so Bai Shuang took the child to the oil field and made up the story about the deceased father. Song Bo and Peng Fei were still in a comical situation when Dahai rushed over to stop the drama. The next day, Li Si stopped Dahai's car. He thought that Dahai had abandoned his lover years ago to get promoted, climbed up to Bai Shuang's level, and now brought her here. Dahai got angry and scolded his useless son. Li Si's mood worsened, so he went to Xiao Hua's house to complain. Dahai and Niu Ling weren't treating him badly. It's just that they were often not home, and he hadn't even had a decent meal at home. Xiao Hua admired his life, but Li Si admired him. Compared to Dahai and Niu Ling, Xiao Hua was indeed more responsible and capable, and much stronger. Yuan Yang stayed a few days, and finally had to leave, leaving some money for Shan Qing and Xiao Zi before he went. When Yuan Yang was leaving, he was accidentally seen by Cheng Ya, who recognized him immediately. But Shan Qing rushed out to stop him, telling him to hurry and go. She begged Cheng Ya to pretend she hadn't seen him, because Shan Qing was a criminal, but she was also her mother. In the winter of 1909-987, the oil field was relocated, and it was also Lunar New Year. Qiu Min and Li Si both brought local specialties to visit Cheng Miao and Cheng Ya, and the three families gathered together for a New Year's Eve dinner. That year was also the first time Song Bo brought Yang Tao to Hu Yue's house for the New Year, and the first time he met Dahai and Peng Fei. Shan Qing knelt down and begged Cheng Ya, who didn't call the police, but she was still worried that Yuan Yang would come back, hoping he would never return. Suddenly, fireworks went off outside. Shan Qing looked at them and said, "New Year's is almost here." Her grandmother unexpectedly arrived, wanting to spend the New Year there because she'd had a fight with her grandfather. Dai Yu was worried and quickly called her grandfather. Cheng Miao arrived at Li Si's house early in the morning, knocking loudly. Li Si was still wearing his cartoon pajamas and looked unhappy to see her. Li Si had his own worries. Everyone had dreams. Xiao Hua wanted to get into Beijing Normal University. Qi Min wanted to go to college and then go abroad with her brother, but he didn't have any plans. He only thought that wherever Cheng Miao went, he would follow. Cheng Miao hadn't figured it out either. She just wanted to go places and see things. Cheng Miao didn't think you absolutely had to have dreams, because her dreams changed all the time. How could you live comparing yourself to others? Li Si felt that he had truly become the useless person Dahai called him. Cheng Miao also had her own little worries. Cheng Ya was becoming increasingly capable, and Dai Yu favored her. She seemed to be accomplishing nothing until she saw Shan Qing. Xiao Hua and Xiao Hua, they were the ones truly living in the hot water. They were the luckiest, so they didn't have any ideals. Cheng Miao and Cheng Ya returned home and were very happy to see their grandmother, even dragging her into complaining about Bao Shan. Their grandmother loved Cheng Ya and Cheng Miao very much. The whole family was happy and harmonious, incredibly warm. New Year train and bus tickets were very difficult to get. Almost everyone in the dormitory had gone home. Fei Yang was about to leave as well, only Xiao Feng hadn't gotten a ticket yet. Her family wasn't at the oil field, and she'd probably have to spend New Year's alone. Yang Tao was about to go home for the New Year. Hu Yue told Song Bo to sleep on the sofa. Qiu Min would sleep with her, and Yang Tao would sleep in Qiu Min's room. Niu Ling talked to Li Si about Bai Shuang. She had chatted with Bai Shuang a lot. Bai Shuang was a kind and tolerant woman, and Dahai had abandoned her years ago, though he'd always felt guilty about it. Niu Ling and Dahai had been married for many years, and she had never suffered. Many people said Dahai married Niu Ling to dig for gold, but that wasn't true. He had worked hard, step by step, from a worker to his current position. Maybe in Li Si's eyes, Dahai wasn't a good father, but he loved Li Si very much. Dahai had never thought Li Si was useless. It's just that every parent loves their child, hoping their child will succeed soon and walk their own path. As soon as he finished speaking, Dahai returned. and Niu Ling quickly told Li Si to pour tea for his father, but the two of them ended up arguing. Bao Shan took a blanket and a folding chair outside and didn't return until early the next morning. Niu Ling prepared New Year's things for the family, and gifts for the boss were also ready. Yang Tao went home and gave Qi Min a gift, and Qi Min was overjoyed. Cheng Ya invited Shan Qing to her house. Shan Qing didn't want to go empty-handed, so she decided to steam some buns. Xiao Hua's brother also came home, and his grandfather and Xiao Hua were both very happy, preparing to make sticky rice dumplings together as a family. Bao Shan stayed up all night in line to buy train tickets, but he accidentally bought tickets for the wrong station. Bao Shan thought for a moment and decided to call Xiao Feng to his house for the new year. His grandfather also came, although he was still sulking. On New Year's Eve, the whole family was happy and harmonious. Bao Shan helped Xiao Feng put up window curtains. When Xiao Feng went out to take out the trash, he fell off his chair. In the fall of 1980, his grandfather found a crying baby by the bridge and took him home to raise. Now, he has two dutiful grandsons by his side. This year, the Cheng family is especially lively with his grandparents coming to visit, and Shan Qing bringing Zhao Tzu along. Speaking of Bao Shan, he arrived with Xiao Feng soon after, and Jia Dayu and Cheng Pengfei quickly greeted them. His grandparents were very enthusiastic, which made Zhao Feng feel a little shy in front of everyone. Dai Hai had to work this year, so the New Year's Eve dinner was simple. Li Si was a little unhappy and insisted on eating pig trotter. At Qiu Min and Yang Tao's place, Yang Tao was very considerate. In front of everyone, Songbo always paid attention to his family, making sure that Hu Yue and his daughter were equal and had everything like everyone. At the New Year's Eve dinner, the grandmother managed everything, giving everyone a fish. A bustling New Year's Eve passed like that. On New Year's Day morning, Xiao Hua brought gifts to pay New Year's greetings to Cheng Miao, including homemade wild vegetable dumplings. Li Si also quickly arrived. Xiao Hua said he had to go pay New Year's greetings to his old headmaster, so he didn't stay long. Li Si brought gifts to pay New Year's greetings to his grandparents naturally, and didn't forget Shan Qing and Xiao Zi, saying things that made them very happy. Cheng Miao and Qi Min secretly talked to each other, saying that Li Si would definitely become a factory manager in the future. Dayu came to give everyone red envelopes, and when she saw Yang Tao, she didn't forget to tease him. Hu Yue tried on the cashmere sweater Yang Tao bought. It felt a little scratchy, so she knew it wasn't pure cashmere, but she didn't mind, because Yang Tao didn't have much money. Songbo said he still had money from working outside. Somehow, he angered Hu Yue, and she started a loud argument with him, even saying in anger that Yang Tao was Songbo's son, not hers. At that moment, Yang Tao and Qi Min returned home and heard everything. Qi Min angrily ran away. Yang Tao chased after her to persuade her, and only then did he learn that she had once tried to kill herself by jumping into a river. Cheng Miao and Li Si went to Xiao Hua's house to wish him a happy new year. His grandfather was away, but his older brother was home. Cheng Ya and Shan Qing took Xiao Su to the market to play. The atmosphere was very lively. Today, Xiao Feng brought special gifts to wish his grandparents a happy new year. His grandmother also didn't forget to try to be a matchmaker for Bao Shan and Xiao Feng. Even though Bao Shan was her son, she didn't blindly praise him. Marriage still depended on compatibility. They chatted happily. His grandfather also liked Xiao Feng and asked Bao Shan if they could be a couple. Bao Shan honestly said that he didn't have that intention at first, but after spending more time with her, he felt some feelings. His grandmother made a small vest for each child. Cheng Ya, Cheng Miao, Shan Qing, Xiao Tzu, and Li Si all had one. Dai Yu, Bao Shan, and Peng Fei also had one. She also sewed warm blessings inside. Yang Tao waited downstairs for Hu Yue to return from the market. Hu Yue saw him and felt a little embarrassed, quickly explaining what she said yesterday. Actually, Yang Tao knew that their life wasn't easy. After going to college, he always used the excuse of being busy to rarely go home. But in fact, he just wanted to escape his family. But he felt very guilty about leaving everything to Qi Min to take care of. Yang Tao only realized the taste of freedom after leaving home. When he went to Guangzhou with his classmates at the train station, he met a family of 3. They didn't argue loudly over minor matters, but were warm and harmonious. It turned out that the harmonious attitude between parents could make their children feel safe. But Yang Tao clearly saw everything Hu Yue had done for their family over the years. He would never forget. Families live together, not to compete. Hearing this, Hu Yue couldn't help but cry. It was her fault. Dai Yu and Peng Fei wore the vests their grandmother made, feeling an unusual warmth in their hearts. Having their mother by their side is the best day in life. Shan Qing and Jiao Tzu also wore vests. Now the little ones have someone to love. One ordinary afternoon, Jiao Tzu said the word, "sister," which surprised Shan Qing and Chengya. The new year had passed. Relatives came and left in a hurry. Xiao Hua's older brother bowed to his grandfather, and then walked on the path to his own career. Peng Fei and Bao Shan sat in the yard peeling melon seeds with his grandfather. When they talked about the love story of his grandparents, his grandfather's memory had faded. He only remembered that he had left home and made a fuss, but he couldn't leave her. He couldn't leave this house. At this age, all he remembers is the precious family affection. The road of life is long. Every step has thorns, but eventually, those thorns will pass. Everyone participated in the writing competition. Cheng Miao and Li Si's entries were returned. There were rumors that the first-place winner would go to Qingdao to participate in the finals. Youth is full of vitality. Everyone is working hard on their own path. Only Bao Shan is sitting around doing nothing. Dai Yu was annoyed and kicked him. Regarding Bao Shan and Xiao Feng, Dai Yu commented sharply, "Xiao Feng can look at you is because she is educated and kind-hearted." Bao Shan was unconvinced and kept saying he wanted to start a business at the age of 30, and even had ideas about the education industry. But Bao Shan was aiming for the school cafeteria, worrying about love and business at the same time. Fei Yang announced that Xiao Hua had won first place in the writing competition and would represent Linxi High School to go to Qingdao for the provincial finals. During break time, Shan Qing took out a scarf she knitted herself to give to Chengya. Chengya eagerly put it on her neck, but it turned out that the scarf wasn't for her, but for her grandmother. Chengya was a little disappointed. Shan Qing took out a book with her poems in it. Although it didn't win any awards, she still wanted to give it to Chengya. The International Labor Day holiday was a trip to Qingdao. Cheng Miao and Li Si also wanted to go. They begged Dai Yu at home, and finally had to ask Peng Fei for help. Peng Fei naturally agreed. The children are all grown up, and they should go out and experience life. To ask for money to go to Qingdao, Li Si read a poem he wrote praising his father, but Dai Hai felt something was wrong. Li Si revealed his true purpose, and almost got beaten up. Qiu Min hadn't had a chance to tell Hu Yue about the trip to Qingdao when she received news that her grandmother would be coming on the holiday. This was the first time her grandmother had come to the house. Qiu Min didn't say anything more. Xiao Hua called his brother to tell him about the competition. His brother was very happy. Bao Shan took Xiao Feng to the observatory. He even made sweet and sour pork and chicken wings for her. They watched the stars together. The atmosphere became romantic. His grandmother was coming soon. Hu Yue started planning to buy a new TV. Bao Shan suggested the cafeteria business idea at the high school, and Xiao Feng misunderstood that he was being nice to her with other intentions. She angrily walked away. Xiao Hua, Cheng Miao, and Li Si took the opportunity of the International Labor Day holiday to go to Qingdao as they wished. But as soon as they got off the train, they got lost. They arrived late for registration and had to beg to be allowed to participate. Bao Shan wanted to start a business again and went to borrow money from Dai Yu. Without a word, she turned and ran away. It was the first time Cheng Miao had stayed in a hotel. She saw the room required a card to turn on the electricity, and the hairdryer only worked when you held it, and she was extremely excited. Qiu Min heard that her grandmother wasn't coming, and was even more annoyed. She wished she had gone to Qingdao instead. Hu Yue suddenly showed Nu Ling Ling and Dai Yu her marriage certificate. The two were shocked by this unexpected action. But the reason they divorced was because of the drinks the night before. Actually, while they were together, they both hid the real reason for the divorce. Hu Yue didn't divorce because of some disputes, but because she was abused by her husband. The reason for Songbo's divorce was even more surprising. His ex-wife ran away with another man, but he felt ashamed and didn't tell anyone, not even his mother. That's why she always had a prejudice against Hu Yue, his later daughter-in-law. The two of them lived honestly with each other, and looking back, they realized that neither of them was living well for themselves. They got divorced for their children, and stayed together for their children. When will they ever be able to live for themselves? So, the two decided to divorce. Hu Yue took a leave of absence, and decided to go on a trip to relax. Hu Yue didn't know that her daughter was standing inside the room, eavesdropping on the entire conversation between her parents. Hui Min calmly accepted the truth, hoping that her mother could live happily from now on, and not have to sacrifice her own happiness for her children anymore. Meanwhile, in Qingdao, Li Si wanted to help Xiao Hua feel more confident before his exam, so he bought him a new pair of shoes and a jacket. He hoped this would encourage Xiao Hua to enter the exam room with the strongest mindset. While waiting for Xiao Hua to finish his exam, Li Si and Cheng Miao decided to explore Qingdao. They were both amazed by the city's beauty and size, so different from what they were used to back at the oil fields. Cheng Miao even met a teacher recruiting students and got the idea to apply to the film academy, which completely surprised Li Si, who enthusiastically encouraged her. Finally, Xiao Hua finished his exam. When he came out, he accidentally bumped into a classmate. This classmate, instead of apologizing, insulted Xiao Hua and his friends, calling them country bumpkins. On their last day in Qingdao, Xiao Hua won third prize, but the same classmate mocked him, saying only first prize gets a trophy and third prize is worthless. Li Si chuckled, because the classmate had only won an honorable mention, and yet was so quick to criticize others. Cheng Miao comforted Xiao Hua, saying that exams are just to test your abilities and rankings are just motivation for those behind to catch up. To celebrate his small victory, Xiao Hua decided to treat his friends to the amusement park with part of his prize money. Unfortunately, Li Si ate too much ice cream and got a stomachache, ending up in the hospital on a fourth drip. Despite this, back at the hotel, Li Si had a surprise gift for Xiao Hua, a medal engraved with Universal Champion, as a way to encourage his close friend. Xiao Hua was deeply touched and hugged both his friends tightly, feeling the beauty of their friendship. Meanwhile, at the oil rig, Songbo had a serious accident when he fell from a height. Hu Yue's mother was on a trip at the time, so when she heard the news, Qiu Min rushed to the hospital to visit her stepfather. Her uncle, Peng Fei, tried to reassure her, saying that with the skills of the chief physician, the surgery would surely be successful. The surgery was over, and the doctor announced that Songbo was out of danger, but he might not wake up and could become a vegetable. When Hu Yue heard the news, she hurriedly ended her trip and returned to visit her ex-husband. Looking at Songbo, lying motionless on the hospital bed, Hu Yue couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness. Even though they were divorced, she was still willing to stay and take care of him. Time passed, and finally, Songbo woke up, but his body was completely paralyzed. In another place, in the orchard, Yuan Yong was injured and had nowhere to escape. He turned back to look for his daughter, Shan Qing. The police had advised him to surrender himself to receive leniency, but Yuan Yong didn't listen. He ordered Shan Qing to prepare clothes for Xiao Tzu, intending to sell her to a wealthy family. Shan Qing begged her father not to sell her sister. She even planned to run away but was stopped by Yuan Yong. At that moment, Cheng Ya suddenly appeared and hit Yuan Yong on the head, but unfortunately, he didn't faint and fought back. When the police arrived, Yuan Yong was already dead. Cheng Ya's mother was panicked when she heard the news that her son was seriously injured and was in the hospital. She and her husband were like lost souls. Cheng Miao, Cheng Ya's sister, also cried non-stop for her brother. The doctor announced that Cheng Ya was out of danger, but the criminal investigation team didn't allow the family to visit him because he was involved in Yuan Yong's death. When questioned by the police, Cheng Ya recounted everything. He just wanted to give a rib to Shan Qing, but when he saw her being attacked by her father, he intervened. Yuan Yong then knocked his daughter unconscious, and in a dangerous situation, Cheng Ya fought back, leading to Yuan Yong's death. In his parents' arms, Cheng Ya finally dared to cry. At the same time, Shan Qing woke up in the hospital and heard the news that her father was dead. Surprisingly, instead of being heartbroken, She smiled because she felt like she had been freed from a lifelong obsession. She admitted that she had killed Yuan Yang to protect Chengya. After witnessing Yuan Yang knock out Chengya, she hid her sister under the bed and stabbed her father herself. Yuan Yang's regrets before his death only made Shanqing angrier, and she poured all her resentment on him. Early that morning, Li Si's group rushed to the hospital to visit Chengya. As soon as they saw their friend lying in the hospital bed, Cheng Miao couldn't hold back her emotions and burst into tears. Outside, the police were comparing the statements of Chengya and Shanqing. Although Chengya insisted that he had killed Yuan Yang in self-defense, the details in Shanqing's statement were more consistent with the actual evidence. The police discovered that Chengya had lied because there were fingerprints on the murder weapon that belonged to Shanqing, something that Chengya denied. Chengya believed that if he pleaded guilty to justified self-defense, the punishment would be lighter, while Shanqing was suspected of intentional homicide. After uncovering the truth, the police were forced to arrest Shanqing. Before being taken away, Shanqing met Chengya again and thanked him for trying to protect her, but also emphasized that the truth should not be hidden. She accepted her fate with an astonishing calmness. Mrs. Jia, Chengya's mother, emotionally offered to take care of Xiao Tzu, Shanqing's sister, while she waited for her return. Shanqing could only say, "Thank you," before bowing to those who helped her and her sister. Time passed, and everything gradually returned to normal. Cheng Miao was preparing to enter her senior year and expressed a desire to attend the film academy, harboring a new dream. Mrs. Jia, seeing her daughter have a clear goal for the first time, fully supported her, even planning to move the whole family to Beijing if Cheng Miao passed the entrance exam to her dream school. On the other side, Li Daihai, Li Si's father, was furious when he heard that his son wanted to attend the film academy. He thought that Li Si wasn't capable enough, and he wouldn't allow his son to pursue a dream he considered to be unrealistic. He forced Li Si to follow in his footsteps, to work in oil exploration like the generations before him. Li Si angrily retorted that his father didn't have the right to force him to follow his path. He blamed his father for always being busy at the mine, not caring about his son when he was sick, and now wanting to destroy his dream. In a fit of rage, Daihai kicked Li Si out of the house. After days of tension with his father, Li Si suddenly felt a continuous stomach ache, so his mother, Nu Ling, took him for a gastroscopy. When they returned home, Li Si pretended to be seriously ill, to ask for a few more days off from school. Everything seemed to be all right, but when Mr. Fei Wu, a family friend, asked Daihai to meet at a coffee shop to talk, he revealed Li Si's test results. He said that the doctor had found a serious problem in Li Si's intestines, and after a biopsy, the final conclusion was that he had late-stage colon cancer. Daihai and his wife were struck by lightning when they heard the news. He hugged his wife, feeling helpless and overwhelmed with despair. At the hospital, the doctor advised them to quickly take Li Si to Beijing for treatment. However, with the disease in its late stage, the only option was palliative care, extending his lifespan for a few more years. Back home, Li Si noticed that his parents had suddenly changed their attitude. Seeing his father cook for him and pour him soda, he was worried and didn't understand what was happening. He even thought his parents were preparing to divorce. The next morning, Daihai took his son to school under the pretense of a school day. Meanwhile, Cheng Miao came home after school and found everyone gathered together. She was curious and stayed to eavesdrop. Standing behind the door, she was shocked when she heard about Li Si's illness. That night, she told all her friends that no one was allowed to reveal Li Si's condition, and she would always be there to protect him. One day at school, Li Si accidentally kicked his head teacher, Ms. Xiao, with a soccer ball. Instead of getting angry as usual, Miss Xiao gently reminded him to be more careful. The group decided to take Li Si to the game arcade, so he could have fun and forget all his worries. In that moment, everyone wanted to preserve Li Si's joy and laughter forever. During a trip out, Chiang Xiaohua borrowed a small boat to take his friends out to sea. Cheng Miao took the opportunity to paint a portrait of Li Si, while Chu Min took pictures of her close friend to capture these last moments. Facing the vast ocean, Cheng Miao couldn't help but wish that Li Si would always be by her side. Li Si, in a calm voice, promised that he would always keep his promise to Cheng Miao to explore the world beyond the ocean. Unable to contain her emotions, Cheng Miao quickly covered her eyes so Li Si couldn't see the tears welling up. That night, in the bedroom, Nu Ling gently advised Li Si to take a break from school to go to Beijing for tumor treatment. But Li Si didn't seem worried at all. He thought it was just a simple operation and could be done in the current city. Moreover, the final exams were approaching, and he didn't want to miss them. Dai Hai, trying to remain calm, said he had asked for a leave of absence from the drilling team to spend time caring for his son. Seeing his parents change, Li Si felt like he was living in an unreal dream. Leaving the room, Dai Hai couldn't hold it back any longer. He leaned against the wall, his eyes red. A few days later, in the flower garden, Cheng Miao gave Li Si a lucky friendship bracelet. She wished that the bracelet would keep him by her side forever. When she returned home, Cheng Miao couldn't contain her emotions, and tears flowed endlessly. The next morning, Nu Ling cried uncontrollably when she couldn't find her son. Li Si left a tape recording, his voice calm but full of affection. "Mom and Dad, since you changed, I felt something unusual. After reading the test results, I understand that it's too late. You always want me to be happy in my last days, and I don't want to ruin that. Every night, I hear Mom cry, and I hear Dad bow his head before Buddha. I understand their hearts, but I can't say anything. I also want to keep the smiles of everyone, my friends, teachers, and even Mom and Dad in my heart forever. So I hid my fear and tears, keeping them only for myself. I know Mom is selling the restaurant to get money for my treatment, but I understand that this disease cannot be cured. I just hope that Mom and Dad can live comfortably in the future. Dad, even though I often disobey you, I always love you deeply. I read your diary. Every page mentions me. You even prayed to God to trade your life for mine. I can't defeat this disease, but I don't accept my fate. I want to decide when I leave this world. I don't want people to see me sick. Let's say goodbye happily. I will always love you all." Finally, Shan Qing's case was concluded as justified self-defense. In Cheng Miao's heart, her beautiful youth left with Li Si forever. 25 years later, Cheng Miao became a reporter for a women's magazine. When she was 35, she officially gave up her office job to become a freelance writer. She used all her savings to buy a small touring car and drove to every place with the sea, because the sea was where she always remembered Li Si. Xiao Su, the little girl from that day, had become a beautiful girl, living happily with her parents. And Qiu Min became a successful auctioneer. One day while working, Qiu Min suddenly fainted. The doctor diagnosed her as pregnant. On the other side, Xiao Hua continued Mr. Fei Yang's career, becoming a passionate teacher. He had a small family with his first daughter. Li Si's parents are currently living abroad, but they often call and chat with Cheng Miao. On Li Si's 37th birthday, Cheng Miao lit a small candle to celebrate his birthday. It turned out that in the past 20 years, Cheng Miao never forgot to celebrate Li Si's birthday. On the other hand, Shan Qing had become part of Dai Yu's family, as she married Cheng Ya. Although they were divorced, Hu Yue remained by Song Bo's side as a relative. Cheng Miao returned to the Linxi oil field and visited her aunt and uncle's restaurant. Standing before the vast ocean, her friends called out Li Si's name, their voices echoing across the vastness. In Cheng Miao's memory, no one could replace the boy who always protected her. Li Si, after 20 years away from you, I have been stained with the color of time. Life passes so quickly, the memories of our beautiful youth are like flowing water. Many things are forgotten, and many people can't be seen again. That youth had regrets, but in the end, it became a beautiful past. Even if we grow old, those years will always be bright. And you, the young man in my heart, have never left. May we always be brave and sincere in love. May we always remember each other. Every day, Cheng Miao still writes the stories of her life, where Li Si's silhouette, his smile, is always present around her, never fading. The movie ends here. Thank you for watching.